Are you ready? Are we on? Hello. Today is Thursday, May 11, 2017. Let this meeting of the Tilton Board of Selectmen now come to order. Let the record show all the selectmen are present. Shall we stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I still want to know why all the hesitations.
I'm waiting for you to catch up.
All right. Shall we peruse the minutes of Thursday, May 4th? Please. Please, please, please. My highlighter. I did.
On page 3, above adjournment, last paragraph with Selectman Scanlon, David Court should be C-O-U-R-T, I believe. Like tennis.
It's not C-O-R-T.
No, I believe it's C-O-R-T.
David Court?
C-O-U-R-T, I believe.
Yep.
In the minutes, it's just C-O-R-T. You're welcome.
On the top of page 2, it was the consensus of the board that department heads. I think we specifically said the public works director and the chief of police, since they were the ones that we specifically said by noon on Wednesday. I don't think any other department heads have been told that.
So we need to remove the department head that's added into the original letter.
We had a letter?
Mm-hmm.
Which one? The one on
The one that says you need to have your report done by noon on Wednesday.
Okay.
It doesn't affect,
It's just the police department and the public works, so it's
right, doesn't
the chief
affect
and the
anyone
director.
else.
So finance doesn't have to give us anything?
He does it anyway,
Well,
but he doesn't know he
Well,
doesn't.
this was in lieu of them coming before us.
Well, that's why
And
I'm
they were
asking.
those two departments were specifically told, if you didn't have your report in, then you would report to us. Well, we've never said that to any other department, including finance.
Right.
But if you're asking them for their department report, if they're not here, they have to show, then shouldn't the finance department or town administrator have the same? She's here, so it's sort of moot, but
Well,
then
we
you'd
do
have,
have it though.
but then you'd have land use.
not every week, I don't believe. I think we've had weeks where he didn't give us anything and wasn't here, so that's all I'm looking for, is just to be consistent.
Well, then we'd have to include the town clerk, tax collector, land use, welfare.
Well, so they give us weekly,
Health
do they give us reports?
They give us quarterly reports.
Quarterly reports.
For welfare and health officer
Well,
and land use.
I don't know how many of those quarterly reports I've seen in 2 years. Couple, maybe?
Can we start with these and then determine what frequency we want the reports from the other departments?
I want, if you want,
Well,
if Tim's not going to be here, he should have a report. Most of the weeks he has, but there's been a couple I've noticed nothing.
yeah.
So if you're going to say police and public works, I don't see,
Well, except that this, I made the request, but it was specific because we had told those two departments,
I
if you're
understand.
not going to have a report
Right.
for us, then you have to come in.
The discussion
But
was
since
only
we
for
haven't
the...
said that to anyone else,
Right.
and we have other arrangements with other departments that are different,
Again, I
I would
like
like-
consistency, so
Okay,
I can be the lone dissenter.
okay, but
We're talking about the minutes, and the minutes does not reflect any discussion whatsoever on other department heads. The minutes only should reflect what was discussed the prior meeting, and the prior meeting was Public Works and Police, and that's what the minutes should reflect. If for future discussion in today's meeting, next week's meeting, you want to add or include a discussion that would add other department heads into that mix, then that's when it's appropriate to do. But this minutes is reflecting what was discussed at prior meetings, and that was not that department head wasn't discussed at all. As a matter of fact, no other than Police and Public Works was discussed.
So instead of department heads, you want that to read Police and Public Works?
Yes, please.
Yes, for now.
Right.
Under Old Route 3/11 Winnisquam, there was a discussion of paving the entire road or just the parking, making it a one-way to catch basins. I thought we did make a decision on going forward with paving the entire project last week and making it one-way with parking. Didn't we?
No, you said we hadn't, and you wanted to wait till Ashley came back.
Is that what we did? Okay, good.
And we were going to have a hearing.
Well, I felt that we should make this decision before the hearing,
Yeah.
so we have a definitive plan that.
And then...
All right, so we'll take this up tonight.
Yeah, because in the meantime, Peter and I met out there this past Tuesday to really look at it and see what, what would be what has to be done and what should be done.
Under Selectmen's report, Selectman Dawson, under Selectman Dawson, it says tree streets per now, quote, will be discussed next week with the full board. Could we kind of give a description or small, short, who he is or what he's doing? I mean, it doesn't, 5 years from now, people aren't going to know what that is.
Okay?
All right, anything else?
Under the manifest discussion, page 2, I think at the end we should add something that, and do repairs, and we would send out a letter to confirm our policy.
Is that what we,
Mm-hmm.
is that what we said we did?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did.
Okay,
Yeah, she's already
we should
done.
add it to the minutes, and he's right.
So
Oh.
that's what the letter... on
Reported the
policy.
notice of meeting letter and copy of the survey going in. Oh, I'm down below. Okay. Anything else?
I'm good. Make a motion, we approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show, motion carried. All right. Police people. Oh. I'm getting Cindy. The warrant?
I have it.
Yeah.
I sent it to you on my agenda that I would have the warrant. But I
We haven't
wasn't
signed
ready
it.
to do it right now, it's still printing.
Oh, it's still printing?
Yeah.
Someday.
You'll promise you're going to sign that tonight?
Well, maybe. How much is it worth?
41 is fine with me.
How much, do you have chocolate?
Oh, it's,
Pizza?
well, in my report that
How
I
much is it
emailed
worth to you?
people, it said it tonight.
Okay, all right, so we'll have the warrant in front of us tonight to sign. That's what I'm hearing.
I'll have it on my desk again.
You'll have it tomorrow.
All right, good. Thank you.
Your dates are all set to go out and...
I'm planning on sending out the tax bills on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how the copier works. You know,
working, I
Okay, good.
Doing tax bills.
yeah.
Is it not working now? Is that what?
Every time I use it, it usually
Oh,
blows
okay.
up. Well, it doesn't like it. It likes you. Okay, watch yourself. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have sent her a memo to that.
Looks like we're missing a body. It says chief and captain. No backup?
Said he was coming.
Just left it.
He'll be here next week.
Well, if you like, I could cover any financial questions you might have with the report I sent while you're waiting for the chief.
It was an outstanding report.
Oh, thank you. So in that, the attachments were showing, the activity that we've had year to date. That details are running about 38% ahead of last year in terms of hours and dollars. And the plan that we had prepared and presented back in the fall of last year, which showed how we could, 2 out of 3 years, we could lease a car out of the detail fund, and then the 3rd year we'd have to take some money out of the operating account. That's been updated, and that was in the replacement plan, and it shows how the payments for the next 2 years would work, and how those would come out based on what we know if you were to approve this vehicle. And the timing is such that I actually budgeted in 2 quarterly payments, but that would mean that we would have the car delivered, outfitted, and in service by July, which at this point is probably not likely. It probably is not likely, so let's leave it at that. What's that? I think if we were to order it, it'd be August. Right, so by the time it's outfitted and in service, which is when we would be making our payment, we're probably looking at 1 quarterly payment at the end of the year, not 2. But in here, I put 2 in just to be more conservative. I also provided the detail fund history from 2009 to 2016, just to demonstrate how, whether you take all the years and average them, or you take the lowest and the highest years out of the mix and average them, we have a very consistent record of net revenues from the detail fund. So, and given the fact that details are outpacing last year, which was a big year, and the captain has knowledge of quite a backlog of projects that are going to require detail work, I feel very confident that we're not going to see any issue with our revenues, net revenues from the fund. So I provided the backup for these things, showing the special detail fund itself, and then, as I said, the replacement plan. In the replacement plan, which has the overlapping years, there in 2018, I showed $12,000 being used for out of the operating budget towards a car, and $16,000 in 2019. But again, that would all depend on our revenues and our billing, and the need for a vehicle at that time. So my recommendation would be that we have sufficient monies to finance a cruiser without having any impact on the tax rate, and we have strong revenues, strong history, that I would see no reason why, if you wanted to proceed forward with this vehicle, that we couldn't do so and do it this year. There's some complexity to the down payment and what we would provide as towards that down payment. So I've still got to flesh out a few things with that, with the bank, but in general, we're well covered financially for this.
Do we have a statement from the mechanic on the condition of the cruisers? So, I mean, we may have cruisers that have mileage on them, but what is the condition of them mechanically?
the other day about this, and he said the one that we brought back into service, the 6C, if we were to relinquish one, we would be one every year. He said, but, you know, they have that are serviceable so we can handle details, and that's what it's been doing. And I, you know, I asked him that question, if we were to send one to the highway, which vehicle would it be, and he said the 6C.
But my question is, are top-line cruisers, not the detail cruisers, what condition are they in mechanically? Do we have failed transmissions, engines failing, rusted out frames? So what, you know, why are we buying a new car to replace the frontline cruiser? If they're not mechanically,
Be on the right side.
you know.
We're not replacing a frontline cruiser.
Usually when we buy a new car, it goes into service as a frontline cruiser.
Correct.
And they all get bumped down.
Right.
So, we're buying a new car to replace a frontline cruiser. So that everything gets bumped down. And I don't
You
know.
want to extend the life of those cars, so you take the new car and start running for the calls.
But do we need a new car?
I feel we do.
Why?
And I don't want to get rid of an old car either,
Okay, why?
because I want to be able to maintain a certain level of amount of cars out there for details. We have a bunch of details coming up where we have 2 detail cars, and the third car, the one that the chief was talking about, we've assigned to Jesse. So when he needs to get to court, he has a vehicle.
Those transports, he's got to have.
If he has to do transports, he's got a cage. It doesn't have a radio. It just has lights. So it's pretty much a detail car that's being used for prosecution. And we have enough officers that we don't have cars to go work all the details. And we still have to farm some of them out to other agencies
Because of lack of cars?
because of lack of cars. And when we get to the point where we're 5 or 6 details a day, then we don't have enough bodies either. So those, once we fill all the ones we can fill, we send them out.
The other day with that almost triple fatal we had 6 cars tied up between road closures and the investigation and running to the hospital to get blood draws and all
Talking
that.
about the Route 3?
Yeah, so in there, and then we called in Dickie, and there was no car for him to take. You know, and when we get a major incident like that, we're going to be calling people in. There's nothing in the parking lot for them, and so the problem magnifies on those days.
Where do you park them all?
Park all what?
Cars?
Park them at the PD when they're not in use.
You say, it must be getting full.
That's why we need a new one. New PD and a new one.
Okay.
Very quick.
All right, I won't belabor it, but I'll be thinking about it.
Do we have
Quotes. Breakdown if that's what you're looking for.
on how to do? That's what I am looking for.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone, Chief?
So they're willing to come down that minus 750. So we're looking at
$250.
a difference of $250. $250.
If you're gonna ask them to come down, are we gonna ask the others if they wanna come down? You're gonna play with them too?
I don't know that they asked. So
Well, that's why I'm asking. If we put it out to bid, then we go back to when you wanna fix your price. Shouldn't we go back to all of them,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair?
Mm-hmm.
In the sample total I used in my report, I used the second vehicle, the second one down, and the first equipment and install on the list. just as an FYI.
The first equipment installed?
The first, right.
This one here too?
Yep.
You happy with that, Captain?
OME, yes.
I thought you were an MHQ man.
Well,
Way
OME,
down here.
To backtrack, because Selectman St. John was not here last time. Our usual installers that work for OME are good equipment installers, and the company knows that, and they sent them to Manchester to redo a whole project for Manchester, updating their radios in all their vehicles, which is over 200. So we knew we were getting like Plan B installers from that company, so we decided that if we're going to get that, then let's try another company. We tried MHQ, who was the lowest at the time, and it was an aggravating experience, to say the least. When we went to pick up the car, we never order hubcaps with our car, and they said, "Here's your car," and it had hubcaps. I'm like, all right, where'd those come from? Because either they took our center caps and put them on another vehicle, and they were swapping parts, and
Oh, you got somebody else's car?
we didn't. We had to make sure by the VIN number, and then we had brought some lights down for them to install. They said they couldn't install them, so I said, all right, put them back in the box. I'll take them back. I'll see if I still have one of the parts to make them work, and they lost them. They lost our lights, so we had to get a credit for that. So it wasn't a pleasant experience with MHQ. So I know OME does good quality work, and I'd like to go back to them because they're local and less headaches.
Well, Marlboro, Mass. is a long ways to go for repairs.
Yes.
But for $900.
We had problems with OME though.
It's
We had
because that-
equipment that was rattling apart, unprotected mounts, turned wires hanging down. The crimps were, like, where they did their crimps, they cut through a lot of the copper strands, and they were like just ragged and rusty
John and I
screws.
looked at it together, and
Is
this
there-
is some stuff that,
Which vehicle was it? Because
it was one of the older ones.
The last one
I
they
thought
did.
it was the 14, wasn't it? The sedan? Was that the sedan? You looked at?
I actually looked at a couple. The last one was the one that had the,
Might have been like a 3A or 3B.
I know the radio was mounted in the back on the side,
Yes,
the connector.
right.
So I would
And
just-
then in the car, the sedan, they had mounted the radio with some kind of mount where it was just left exposed, so anything could bang against it. Do they have any examples of something that they've just recently done?
no, I mean,
If swing by up there and say, hey, show me the quality that you guys are putting out now. compared to-
With the new equipment, though, with the new trace that we got with the other people, that eliminated some of that
they do the
wires, right.
Patrol PC.
right.
Yes.
And it all depends on how much money we're willing to spend. I try to work within the budget, and if I don't have enough money to get an equipment tray, then that sometimes goes away. So I know the 2014 Cruiser was done at the North Shop up in Moultonboro. The 3A and the 3B was done down here, but I think because we got two cars, we were trying to not expend too much money. So we were being creative with what we were buying. I know right now they've been doing all of Manchester's cars, and Manchester does 5 a year. Hold on. They're slated for 5 a year, and then when they total 1 or 2, they do 2 more. So they've been doing Manchester's.
OME has?
Yes. Right now, they're working on the Belmont Chiefs car, so that's not a real good representation, because it's all low profile, no cage, nothing like that. So,
Isn't the equipment install for this cruiser included from the detail fund? Because it's part of the cruiser?
It would all be used in the financing, yes.
Right,
Yes.
okay. So we don't have to be too squeaky on the budget. Okay. All right.
Is there any thought of bringing another frontline cruiser that's plain like the Expedition was? because it's amazing how many cars you can pull over around exit 20 with it, because they don't expect it.
This one's light package to be local.
This would be set up, well, I've calculated it on the pricing as a low profile, which is fully decaled, but no roof mounted light bar, it's all internal lighting. I'm not opposed to unmarked, but, you know, I want to make sure the chief gets what he wants for a fleet vehicle, so it's really what he needs. If we're going to accidents, it's good to have high visibility.
Do we have any unmarked patrol cars? No? I know, isn't your car's unmarked?
Well, yeah. I mean,
But in the patrol fleet, do we have any unmarked?
Not necessarily in patrol fleet. It's
I know we do for the detectives and,
we kind of left the option open with this one, the way we lit it up. So all the lights are inside, so if we didn't stripe it, it would be just like the Expedition. So it's,
Oh, okay, so with inside lighting, how's the visibility from the sides now? Because that's going to be your problem areas generally. When you have the light bars on top usually,
right, but you're
you're going to have some on the
Flashback.
side, on the mirrors or fenders and...
oh yes, for side warning, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
and now they do them in the windows on the side.
Yeah.
Which is a lot better.
Just got buzzed.
Yes.
So do we have a copy of what they bid on? You know, and a copy of their actual bids?
Yeah, one basically just wrote down a number on what I sent out to quote.
It's in your dashboard too.
no, those are all scanned, but you can look at my paper copies.
While I'm
Yes.
looking for that, I can tell you that one little problem I see is that I didn't have the cost of the radio, and I just had the upfitting and the vehicle and the patrol PC. So that would change the financing and the lease amount slightly, but not a huge deal.
So this is what I sent out to,
That's this guy.
yes, that's exactly what I sent to you.
That's what we're looking for.
So you got AutoServe to drop their price some, but not the other two. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, just ask them to give us a town discount because we're in town. That's what he said.
And that's why I went down to the
Yeah.
28,230. And we haven't played Let's Make a Deal with the other two, but that's still higher than the middle one.
Isn't it all off the state bid?
Irwin's is as close to state bid. I mean, I know, I don't send them what the state bid pricing is, I just send them a request, and I know what,
Brian can see what it is.
yeah, I can see what the state bid pricing is, so.
Are we still getting the extras that we usually get from AutoServe? The car washes and things like that?
Yeah. I think that's because we don't have the ability to do that at the PD, and we just had awful luck with the car wash.
Mhm.
So AutoServe is a car wash?
Mhm.
Well, I don't think that went through site plan or sewer.
They wash vehicles when you go in,
Yeah, they're
in
doing them in there.
with the hose.
Before they-
Well, if it's going down any drain, then they're going to have problems with Franklin because they're in violation.
Yeah, they've had a detail shop for a while, but
Can we talk about cars,
I
please?
don't know if they have a full-fledged car wash right now. I think
They do not.
I think they just installed one.
In the past, we have added the extended warranty on some of the vehicles. Is this include the extended warranty?
Does not.
Because they up the power to 100,000. That's before the
So
old
the base
car
warranty has been beefed up. Okay.
A lot of these, when they up-
I already made up my mind.
I'm looking at this, and we asked for a 21B backup camera. I don't see it on this.
That's a no charge option.
Oh, okay.
It's actually standard on the police package now, which is really great.
Yeah, this says 87R backup camera.
Yeah, just instead of having the view of what
Yeah.
you're seeing in the backup camera on the radio screen, it actually moves it up to the rear view mirror. Because in the event we were going with the Havis and we were taking that out and all this stuff, it wasn't
None of the screens.
compatible, and so.
That then separates it out, so
Right.
it's just, so, I'm looking, this is the Raponi, you can see that, Ospey Mountain, MHQ, let's see, the other ones,
The AutoServe, Irwin's, and
MEHQ, Adams,
Ashley, do you have any questions?
No, I think we should go with AutoServe.
How many cars do we have currently? Huh.
Well,
we have to start buying smart cars so we can fit them in the parking lot.
oh, we got smart selectmen now. Look at, now we got a smart captain. Look at it. Boom. That was quick. Look at, he's embarrassed himself. Yes.
I can find out.
I'll make a motion, we go with AutoServe and OME.
Second.
So we're not gonna play ball with the other two?
My opinion is, and I can't discuss all of it in public, but my opinion is that they are local, their serviceability is very local. They have gone above and beyond in other realms with us in keeping all of our vehicles cleaned, serviced, and they have, let's see what I can say, helped the detectives in many ways that we could say in public. And they've gone above and beyond for the $1,000 difference. I'd like to keep it local.
Only a $50 difference on the
Yeah, I was
car.
gonna say, it's
Well,
$250
if you look
now.
at the original bid without asking, it's
Right.
$1,000, and that's why I said that.
that
Right.
car washes a year. And I don't want to see salt on them, and I'm a fanatic about
I hope you don't pay that much for car washes.
No, no,
You'd wear out the emblem on the car.
that. Well,
They save it all.
Yeah, and at the time,
Do does the
Whole
undercarriage?
fleet.
at the time I was putting this
Just a
together,
full-blown car wash?
Yeah, but I'm sure they don't say $250 on one car. That's a lot of car
Sounds like
washes.
they've got some issues with Franklin then.
so at the time I did this, I wasn't aware of the price discount too, so that's why I'd taken the lowest.
So that may help you out with that, with the
What else?
exception on the
That would
radio.
help, yeah.
Do you have any more information, questions, comments?
No, just that everything, the last installs I've seen from OME were pretty shoddy. They were very poor, and I
You ever had a
think,
conversation with them about that?
Yeah, so the 4A was an improvement, and the patrol PC, I think, eliminates what John and I saw. And I agreed, John and I looked at the HVB, it was when you had the air guards sticking out the wires out of the back, and,
But-
the radar radio.
Did you bring that to the attention of
I
Varsity?
said, are you kidding?
And their comment was, or their reason was, or explanation for it
We're on a
was?
meeting.
Oops,
if they're,
Yeah, I mean, I just said.
we fired that guy, or?
if they're,
I just said.
That's everything I have, yeah.
do they
I'm sorry
have
if it's
anything
not in
saying
there.
that there'd be substantial work from
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Matter.
I talked to the guy that runs the shop up in Moltenboro, and
He apologized?
yeah, and he said, they had a couple installs, I think, up there that came in and came out. And I said, I don't wanna see any wires. I told the cat that, I wanna look in
I
the
want
box.
good connections. I don't want them using screws that are all rusty
Yeah.
and, bad crimps and rattling things.
So how about we just have a conversation with them, let them know what our expectations are, tell them the past experience, we're gonna be looking at this closely, we expect
The board is going to be looking at this
I think
closely.
Ashley just said
I
a
think-
key statement, when it comes back from them, we look at it closely to make sure the work was done in that type of
Right.
manner. Thank you, Ashley,
On
that was a
something-
good point.
Like this, a contract for installation should state that all work shall be done in workmanlike manner. You know, good workmanship, no loose connections or something like that. I'd like to see that added on to there. So before we give you the last check, we're gonna look it over.
Right.
And then we can get back to a comfort level with them, if we're doing it. And plus, if you put that on there and tell them we're going to look at it, we'll usually do an extra good job too. You know, I'd like to keep it local, and
Right.
it's a lot easier to go there.
Well, we should
Or
do
they send
a,
guys over too, right? Sometimes,
yeah, we should just do a test before we even take delivery from them. Just run it through a checklist.
Well,
Really,
my thing is workmanship,
Yeah.
you know, loose hardware, shoddy hardware, maybe not using Loctite on the nuts and bolts so that they, you know, vibrate out.
I'm really not sure we need a new car, another car. We have, what, the most we have on patrol is 3 at one time, correct? For coverage.
Yeah, when they have the 4-hour block,
Yeah, sometimes when there's the 4-hour block, we have a
that's what are out there doing directed patrols, so.
Okay.
And then it's grant overtime. That's a whole nother, we'll save that for another time. So
That's an extra.
that's an extra patrol officer assigned to a certain task or function for overtime, guaranteed overtime.
The last time I looked at the mileage log, it seemed that they were pretty linear in their usage, so that, you know,
Rotation.
the rotation was working
That's
a
good.
lot better,
That's
so
good.
that they were
But I mean-
aging, you know, at the proper.
But mileage is not always an indication of it's time to replace the car. Especially where we have a mechanic on duty, and we actually have 2, we have Nate. But, I just think we have a lot of cars.
I just want to keep them all. We get another one.
So, let's discuss this. Usually our policy is if we get a new car, we take one out. It sounds like we need all of the cruisers.
Let's do the detail season if we could.
Yeah. At least.
Because we're not doing a trade-in, so we don't necessarily have to remove a vehicle.
Right.
What do the other selectmen feel about that?
It sounds to me like this is going to be an incredible busy season for
Right.
details.
And,
It'll be the
and,
busiest
and
we've ever seen.
we got hammered last year from October to
Yes.
December. We could
We
not
did.
keep up. It was, you saw it out on Route 3.
Yep.
And so I don't want to say, you know, wait, in September we get rid of one because then we might get
Right.
busier. And
We should put some
We
lights
could-
on our car.
we could
just
loan
in
the car
case,
out.
Yeah.
Do you
Right.
need a radio in your
Well, you must have the old lights
detail
to
cars or
that
not?
hanging around.
So couldn't we get a magnetic light bar and you could use the black bomb as an extra detail car? Because no one wants to drive it because it
I do.
floats too much. But to go to somewhere in Tilton and park it for the day,
we'll send that to out-of-town details.
you can do that too.
Okay.
You know, there's some towns out west that they have like inflatable ones that they can set up.
All right, we're digressing.
And we don't
Yeah,
have to pay
I guess.
insurance. No,
All right, shall we call the question?
It's a valid statement, because I think that we should be
Yep.
forcing one out every year. I really think so.
But it sounds like they need a new car, they need another car.
We added 2 last year.
If we,
But they're going,
They, in actuality, Ashley, last year, we did take the 6C out of service. And then we were scrambling for a vehicle because we had 2 vehicles down, they were broken, and we had waiting for mechanics and repairability and everything. And we asked if we couldn't resurrect that 6C from its deathbed at the highway garage, which we did. And it came back on, that's what happened. And it was well used, and it's still well used in details, so.
And when it does come to the end of its life, we're gonna use it as a parts car, so.
Well, we don't technically ship it out. They do use it for parts. But
Speaking of which, is there anything left on the current parts car, or should we just get rid of that?
That could probably be scrapped,
Okay.
Like soup out
That's,
there.
well, that's what I had heard from Public
I
Works. I'm just
suspect
trying
we'll
to
hear
get a
from Public
consensus.
Works on that, but see, this conversation, it would be nice to have a report from our mechanic. All right, so,
Who seconded the motion? Me.
Ashley.
Ashley did.
And Pat moved it?
all right, we're ready for a vote.
And this is on AutoServe.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table?
Aye.
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 Reluctantly so.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's only because of... And is it agreed that we will not be taking one out of service
I would say we
until it
revisit
mechanically...
Revisit it while you got the details. Use it, come end of season, we can look and say,
Consensus?
We'll
I
go
say
to
we
the
keep
summer.
it in service.
I say
Go to the summer.
it sounds like you guys are having people, you need police out in the field and they don't have a car, so I
In
just.
details, yeah.
I'd like to make...
Car.
Unbelievable, yeah.
and the captain's looking to get 3 cruisers next year, so he wants every detail.
I'll be looking
Just
for...
because one went through good, right?
I'll be
And the captain
looking...
wants a Tahoe,
I'll be
right?
looking for a mechanic's report when it's time to take a car out of service.
And the financing?
Oh, you want us to finance it too. So what's your recommendation, finance
We were
director?
taking it out of your salary. You didn't get that email?
So,
I make a motion that we finance this as per the finance officer's
we could
suggestion.
add a couple of,
Oh, well, I tell you, when it comes to finance, that's what I
I'll second
defer to. I just
so
think
we'll
that,
go with your recommendation.
yeah, whichever you think is best. Discussion, anyone?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
A
Yes.
couple of questions for clarification. So this is just for the vehicle, what about the equipment? You didn't do anything?
Oh,
We did the
We
equipment.
did.
You said
And
OMA.
equipment
That was
and-
part of the motion.
Okay, and equipment, and so who is the equipment?
OME.
OME,
I
okay,
think it's OMA.
OME.
It's
OME.
OSAP.
Okay, and then revisiting which one to take out of service.
We're not.
We're not.
Okay, what about, you wanted a mechanics report?
If it comes time to take a car out of service, I personally would like to have a mechanic's report telling me its time and
Recommendation.
why.
Yep.
Time and why.
In recommendation, which one?
Most importantly, why?
Yep.
I would like for the end of June, the mechanics report, the status of our vehicles.
Oh, that would be fabulous. Did you hear that, Joyce?
Did what?
All right, I'm just writing down on the one that they want to take out, or I should say remove.
At this time, no vehicle is being taken out of service.
Okay,
At such time, it is recommended, like I said, I personally would like to see mechanics report as to why and which one.
why
John?
this one?
Would like a basic fleet report of the condition of all of our vehicles.
A
And-
weekly report?
No, a fleet
Or a
report,
fleet report?
and by the end of June.
When you say all of our vehicles, all department vehicles or just the PD?
Fleet.
All
every
rolling-
vehicle the
all
town owns,
vehicles.
yeah.
Now, John, are you looking for that, like quarterly and
think
semi-annual?
biannual.
Every 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, just let them know ahead of time.
That would
Yeah.
help the budget committee too, wouldn't it?
yeah, biannually, and then we know
Okay.
how things are going, and give them plenty of time to,
Okay, this is in June,
the end of June.
end of June.
Does anybody object to that? Because that's going to be extra work for the mechanics.
So in future, biannually, a report.
We should have a...
Okay, and then again, fleet to me means everything vehicle the town owns.
Yeah.
Okay, not just the
Rolling stock.
Rolling stock. Okay,
You should have the software tracking it all now anyways.
Town administrator report. Dari, you going to be part of that?
I'm here if you need me, yeah. I I see you have first,
Can we start with the land use?
Yes, please do. 'Cause I've
We
gotta
can
go
start
down and pick up
wherever
some
you want to
things from
start.
the printer.
No, it's her report. Sorry, no, we are the boss.
what's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Why don't you come up, we'll continue
Okay.
on with the residual land use.
Okay.
But, Joyce, are you gonna have the final versions of the job descriptions?
I don't,
Okay,
not for signature tonight. I have them here.
okay.
But Dory and I haven't had an opportunity to speak.
So rearrangement, relocation of the land use office, I guess is the
Okay.
next.
All right. So, yeah, I think we figured out, we spent some time today measuring and discussing. I brought, well, should I hand this out?
Sure.
All right. An estimate from an electrician to put some additional outlets. You're welcome. And then I spoke with Tim, and he estimated additionally, we're maxed out on our phone ports right now, I guess. But he went down and he sees a possibility of adding 4 new ports, and he thinks that would cost between $500 and $600. And that would allow us to obviously add 4 new phone lines. And then he thought about $200 in parts for computers. So all in all, it comes in at just under $2,000 if you add those two to the 1,160 here. And the thought would be to hopefully leave that desk configuration for the code enforcement officer and the land use technician. And then I would move basically my stuff from downstairs into this area here where Catherine currently is located.
So we would have to empty our stuff.
All those file cabinets
Well, the file cabinets, I'm
would go
talking
up on the
desk.
stage. The
selectmen's
desks,
desk, yeah.
I don't know what's in there. I know the credenza just has storage stuff in it.
I think I got business cards.
But the stuff in the credenza could easily go over here, in this blue one.
You're gonna keep
I would take my
the
stuff
2 desks and the credenza,
and put it up on the stage,
and that whole corner is gonna go away over
up
the
on the
stage.
stage.
And then your desk would be where Catherine's is, and then so
Do you,
Al and the new technician would be across from each other.
Yeah.
Got it.
can you utilize that shelving?
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping you'd leave it.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah, we
can
can
do something else up there. There's another one of these desks, I can line that stuff up on the desks. And,
Okay.
yeah, I don't necessarily need shelving up there.
Okay.
So we don't have to empty the file cabinets, they can just be
The
moved
file
to another
cabinets can
place.
just be moved.
Yeah, and the file cabinets that are in the land use office could fit easily. There's more than enough room to fit them along this facing
Okay.
portion here. Potentially, we could leave those 2. I don't know, those 2 at the end there, and we could use them, or they could-
They're
One of them is
loaded with that
parks.
stuff.
The
Okay,
very
that's
end one
fine.
is, the very end one is parks, and the next black one,
Oh.
beige
No,
one.
he's talking the 2 on the
Oh,
end.
those 2.
Yeah.
Those are selectmen's.
Okay, all right, well, that's fine. We don't need them.
I don't know what's in them though. They might have smaller file cabinets if it's not needed.
If we had
I thought we had a 4th one of those. Wasn't there one that sat over there for the longest time?
If we did, it would be on the stage.
If we had another place to put our files, we could easily move them from there because they don't necessarily have to be in a 4-person. I have a lot of files in my drawer, and we each have a file cabinet.
I guess they could stay
In a
there, and you
drawer, I
guys could
should say.
continue to use them from right there. That's
But
possible.
if it's
too.
something that you can utilize and make do with, then it seems more productive to have them have the files than for us to have them. I'm just trying to figure a way where we could put our files.
Oh, come up on the stage. There's stuff on the stage that's going to have to be removed. A lot of it is from the Grange, which probably, Joyce, I think you and I looked through it. should be just tossed out. I mean, some of it just isn't, there's no historical significance, it's just stuff. Stuff.
Tim said he definitely did not want to move in the land use office. Wants to stay, so you're aware of that. Okay. So what would we do with your office and
I don't know.
Heather in there?
I would think that we would move the copier and those files into that office, since we have very little room in the copier room now.
Yeah.
There isn't a table that you can put stuff down in there if you're working. We're running out of files for the tax cards. I mean, as it is, if you try to get a file out of some of those drawers, you really need a set of pliers. So,
I know, but we were pulling out, like all like big reports and things.
Yeah.
We put down.
But to move the tax, the property record files into the office we're in now probably makes sense. It would fit better in there. We could even move the copy machine.
Then what are you going to have in the copy room?
make the break room.
Maybe the break room.
And you could
or-
take the refrigerator and all of that
How about
out of the
Heather?
meeting room, and you would be more set up for,
Well, one of the things we had talked about, I think it was either you or Tim and I, that with the land use office, kind of separate out the little half the room or
Yeah.
L space or whatever, so Heather could be there with her locked file cabinet and her locked desk.
I mean,
And then if she has clients and you want to have a copy of something,
I
Well,
gotta
that's
tell
just
you,
before.
I
Can
gotta
I
tell
say
you,
something
no
about the copy
employee,
machine?
no
Can I get a word in?
employee should work
Private
in
conversation.
a room without windows,
Oh, and
Without
talk about
any
putting a
type of
window in there, right.
ventilation.
We would do a,
without any type of proper air
Sorry,
circulation.
brought it up. I'm
I mean, I know we've been using it for years, but
but I'm with Peter, I think we should do something with
John,
I don't think we want to put the copy machine in that closed room because of the amount of heat and the fumes from the toner. We don't have much ventilation in his office. Presently, it's in a room that doesn't have a ceiling on it, so you get more airflow around it. Plus the amount
Interesting.
of electricity that copy machine, as well as the folder, uses up. It's probably like a 20-amp draw. I don't think you had a lot of power going into your room.
it would require quite a bit of IT work,
Well,
I think. Tim
but the
did say
fact
that.
is, at this point, to make this move we're talking about, we don't really have to come up with a quick use for that empty space.
thank you,
It would probably be best if we
Didn't.
took more time
to decide.
to really chew on it.
It's true.
Because once land use is moved and this is moved, we have, everybody's in a place.
Right.
Yeah.
So no one needs to move.
I concur.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, that may, I don't know, that may be it. What else do we want to talk about? John, I guess one thought I had is, what is actually healthier or more harmful? To spend, maybe 15 minutes or so in a room where the fumes are pretty bad, or to spend 8 hours a day in an office where they're dissipated, but there's that constant, so it's something to think. Again, we don't need to make this decision tonight, but I've
We
been
would have
in
to
offices
put some
before
paper
where you go in the copy room and you're hit with the fumes. However, the whole rest of the day, they're locked away.
So let's stick with the move from land use up here.
All right.
How does everyone feel about that? And the expense so far?
What was Tim's expense for?
He had $500 to $600, assuming. Now, I should say, he's saying it's possible that it's possible to add 4 new ports to the panel or whatever it
We're
is
maxed out.
down in the
You'd
basement.
have to add a whole new,
If that's not possible, then that
Phone
expense
lines.
we can't.
Right, if it's not possible for him to add the phones to the system, then the other suggestion is to take the phone by the downstairs computer and move that up here for the assistant.
I guess I don't understand that if you have phones where you're now, and you're going to be moving on here,
you'll need
One
one
more
more
person.
phone.
the land use.
They want a phone for the assistant.
A line, you know, their own line. We
Right.
could function without it, but it's, you know, ideally everyone has their own.
They're not
line.
looking to add 4 new lines, they're looking to add 1, but when you add the port, you add.
Because they're already maxed out now, so
Right.
you gotta,
Okay.
you might as well put the strip in that
The unit,
8 and
right.
So,
do it.
Right,
Add
I
extra.
think it's a 4. I don't know if you know, sometimes the 4 takes up 1, so you gain 3. I don't know how it works, but anyway, whatever, we gain something.
well, it's a card that he gets, and the card is for 4, not
It's
just
4.
1. So, again, how does the board feel about the expense of the switch?
This is just a part of the expense, because now do we know how much it's gonna cost for the wall here to put you up over the stage?
Sorry to interrupt. I should mention.
When I talked to Brock yesterday, boy, these days are merging, he was going to price it out and have someone other than Public Works build it, and he felt that it would be around $1,500 for the wall.
Sorry, I should mention, part of this expense includes work to be done along that wall.
The 3 outlets.
Yeah,
Well, the electrical, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so-
the electrical.
So the wall, it's
Includes
about,
that wall and
Yeah.
for electrical.
For electrical.
I think 3.
You also will see in J.P. Carter's number 2, he's going to write some 5 cables for. Also, see, I didn't spell my name right. That's okay. For Tim.
It's pronounced Catherine.
and look what I saw.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I just saw it. It's like good for him.
So,
And I'm asking this because there's no need, if the board is objecting to the cost, there's no need to go further. But I think it's a good move.
it's gonna end up costing us about $4,000, all in all. Because if you have the $1,500 wall, and if you're looking at phone lines and electrical, it's around $2,000. And then you have miscellaneous things that you might or might not need that could come up to that, paint or whatever.
And our other option was if we were to put the door in and buy special counters and desks, we're up at
Oh,
least 3,000 there.
No, it was more, wasn't it 5,000 or 6,000?
Looked at the
It was
phone, so-
5,000 is what we came up with, you know,
So it's-
getting like
it's a wash.
relatively inexpensive stuff from IKEA and whatnot. So yeah, I think this is cheaper, and we get more space.
I think you're going to be on the light side of $3,000.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that the planning board meetings are much more comfortable up here. I mean, they seem to be with the crowd that you have. It seems like that it's much more comfortable.
Peter and Ashley, what do you guys think? You're looking at about probably $3,500 when you're all done.
Get her done. Next item.
When
Do we need a motion to?
Estimate-
At some point.
Accept the estimate?
estimate of when you're going to do it? When is this going to take place?
I think we should try and get going on it as soon as possible. Meaning,
I don't need the wall to be up there. There are outlets up there.
okay,
There's just as many outlets here as I need up there. It would be better because
Do you have the proper lighting?
well, I'm thinking of other people. I have enough lighting because Johanna and I don't use the overhead lights when we're up here. You probably guys have noticed this. I like the light shining at my work. But once the wall goes up, it will make it much darker up there. So people coming in are
Yep.
going to be like looking in a cave. So hence, I can put in some floor lamps, which are inexpensive. I don't think we need wall sconces. And that would, you know, I could put motion things on them and they would come on when people come in, so.
Do we have to do anything per code with the exit or anything up by the bathroom, the light or whatever?
Should be.
We should be already set with that, because we do use that area.
Well, from the stage to the bathroom area. Okay,
So,
I'm good.
I mean, yeah, basically as soon as we can. We're you know, Al and I are always we're talking obviously on a daily basis. I'm sure I can chat with him on Monday about his, you know, schedule, what availability he'd have to sort of take maybe a day.
Well, we're gonna need the Public Works. I don't know what his schedule is, so we'll need Public Works to
Yeah,
help move all of us.
Just as long as we don't take the plastic down, because it's gonna be brutal with that down
No,
until the wall goes up with the air
So
conditioning.
I think that conversation needs to take place with Brock.
Okay.
I can talk to him, you can talk to him because Joyce will be gone next week,
Okay.
or we can talk to him together.
Let's talk to them together.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So a motion to
Get it done.
Skip this.
go forward with the project with a ceiling price of, anybody?
4,000.
4,000? Anybody?
So moved.
Good?
Yeah.
I'm just, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right.
So 4,000 maximum. I'll get with you next week.
Awesome.
It would be nice to get it up and going before we get a technician.
Definitely. Yeah.
Second.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You so moved.
I agree. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to have an extra set of hands moving all this stuff up here, but no, that's not. I agree.
Be set up.
Yeah, set
It's
up.
gonna be mayhem.
Yeah, right.
You best look through it.
All right.
Well, if you do it on a weekend, you need a hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we
Or a weeknight.
some stuff out. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Have a good
Gary.
night.
You too.
Right, thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Joyce?
You're here tomorrow, right?
Yes.
That's one.
Thank- All right.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Just staple a bunch of agendas. Did you see me stapling agendas?
Yes, I did.
I did too.
I did see that. And thank you for doing that, because I have a hard time looking at the computer and listening.
Well, you know, I get confused because you say
Yep.
you don't want paper, so I email them
Well, yours is so.
Oh, you can always give me
Yours is
paper.
so large.
Here,
I
I'll
really
take
like
one
it.
and hand it down, Joyce.
then. Oh, I need one. If not, they know where to use my pen. I do need to show you one picture from my conference. It was the best conference ever. All the rooms at the Mount Washington were already booked. So I stayed in the Breton Arms Inn, which is further down the hill from the Mount Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just either walked or drove up to the inn for the thing. And so last night, getting ready to go to the big dinner,
Mm-hmm.
walk out the door, the cars are parked back there, and this is what was in my way.
Oh, that's
She
cool.
had
Show
five
to
of them.
John.
She had 5 of them.
Oh, cool.
Live.
And they don't think all
Did you
5
go
of them-
pet them?
No,
They think-
no. I
did,
know not to get.
Peter and Ashley see it?
Yeah.
Would they think she adopted a couple?
No, they said last year she had 3. She kind of lives there, and they tell people, don't feed them,
Oh, yeah. but-
because they have a real problem with the bears there. I was so taken aback when I go out the side door, and the guy coming in saying, oh, you don't want to go out there, there's bears out there. I said, nah, and I walk out, whoa, they're like right there. They're so cute. And earlier in the day,
Go patting mommy's babies.
I was, see how they're just so teeny tiny.
Want to stay away from the babies.
Yeah, don't
You
go
get
near
between
mommy's
mother and
babies.
baby,
I
look
mean,
out.
she was looking at me,
They'll
and
become lunch and
That's it.
dinner.
but they all looked healthy. But they have a path you can take from there all the way up the hill. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna walk down. I said, nah, the weather's crummy. I could have stepped on one of them and not even known. It's right
Excuse
there,
me.
backed away into the woods. So that was my wildlife experience. It was a great conference.
Excellent.
Great conference. So I'm like, it was about resilience building and team building.
Nice.
So just go ahead and have at it, and just watch things bounce off.
Good. Good.
Can you teach us that?
We expect training next
Teach
week.
us that.
Just so you know, I kept Cindy informed every step of the way. We had to, because between us being in and out, exactly what was going on, emails. Yes, Cindy, I'll make sure you have it Friday morning. Don't worry about it. Take it off your to-do list. But I was having trouble putting it.
So you got it printed.
No, I don't, she brought it up, but I don't think this is in the format that she wants. I think she wants hers by name. I do everything by map and lot, and this is by map and lot. Well, so if you want to peruse that, and I'll give you, and I also printed one.
John, you want to look at the warrant?
It's a
Then pass
black
it down?
hole. There you won't listen.
Pay attention to it.
Well, I have this. This is,
Okay, that would be fine, John.
Understart your own.
That would
this
be
is
fine.
by
You're just trying
name.
to get even with me.
This is just by each line, so if you want to quickly, yeah, this is by name, and then this is what you'll actually sign. So the amount of the commitment is $5,829,034. I haven't had a chance to do an analysis yet on the,
Was that within the estimate that we proposed in the budget?
well, this is just the first half, because
This
it's,
is
we
the rest of
collect
the story.
everything.
So we're still on target with that?
That's what we signed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our total commitments are over 10 million, close to
I know,
10
it
million.
seems kind of low though.
Well, I compared it to last year's first
Yeah.
issue, and it's about $40,000 more,
Oh, okay.
which, you know, I have to go back and look at the MS1 to see why, you know, we should have really had more assessments, but we did quite a few abatements and things.
Well, we'll have more next year because we'll have new buildings. We'll have 5 guys, that building. That wasn't completed as of April 1st.
Right.
There's a couple of them.
And there may be
John Bernard.
some adjustments that will need to be made between the first and second issue bill, because the deadline, we got quite a few elderly exemption applications in, but they were incomplete, so we had to send letters back and say, we need this, this, and this, and then they send it back, and then we need more information. So those would still qualify, because they did apply in time.
How many of the veterans exemptions
Yeah, that's what I was looking to see. How many went up? I thought I brought those papers out, but I guess I didn't. Guess I thought they had. Oh, and there were two warnings came up, and I called Lauren, I couldn't reach her, but we can adjust them second issue, which I just didn't know the answer. One was R182527 used to their assessment. No tax is shown, but what I printed for 2017 is a different name than compared to 2016.
We have a property that's not taxed. Is that what you're telling us?
I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. This is 2016. When I compared the warnings from last year to this, some of these had been sold and new owners made them ineligible for the exemption.
Oh.
But on this one, R1723, it's under, well, it doesn't matter. I can't say. It looks like it's a spouse's name, whereas before it was the other spouse. And it's being taxed now. So I'm like, okay, so that's something I have to find out. Why wasn't it not taxed before, and now it is being taxed? And then the other was the Tilton Methodist Church. They have 2 parcels. One has the exemption on it, but the other doesn't. So the only thing I can think of is in what they had submitted, because every April they have to submit to keep their charitable exemption, what they're doing with the property and is it
Use.
being for any other use. And so that would be
But doesn't the charitable exception only deal with the building that it's on? not property.
It's the use of the property.
Yeah, but last year they,
Right, so if it's just land,
both
it's
parcels
not.
were on it.
Oh,
This year they are. One is, the other isn't. So I just want you to know that those were two things that I couldn't get an answer from in time. And I knew that she wanted to. Right now, to your question on the vets. The total credits are 87,000, oops, just of the all vets, the $500 one.
yeah.
That's up to 87,000. We have 5 all new ones under the all vets.
So 5 new.
5 new for 2,500. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Why would it be 2,500?
because there's 5 times 5 is 20.
Oh, total. I'm thinking 500. Okay. A total of 5.
So
25.
that's what, 90, 89, 5. And then if you add the total disability vets, that's another 14,000. That's not bad, we only moved 5.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Only 5 that took advantage of that. Yeah.
So that's good. And current use, there wasn't much change. A little bit of change in current use. So, but I'll have a MS1 for you next week and an answer to those questions, and we just have to make a note that
Week
they
after,
do.
you mean.
The week after, or I can leave it with Gail. So that's the important thing. So I reprinted I took all the changes on the town vehicle repair and maintenance that I received. And John was the only one that responded. So I made these changes. I took out a new one of the, oh, here it is. And this is the weekly department head reports. With just the chief and Brock.
Before we send that out, can somebody have a face-to-face conversation with
Oh, I've
Mr.
spoken.
Morrison?
Oh, I spoke directly to the chief and to and to Ryan and to Brock.
Okay. And
Somebody
has-
needs to speak with the sergeant.
Yeah,
That's
there's-
fine.
somebody,
You don't think that they'll communicate this? Okay,
somebody should.
all right. Just chain of command, that's all.
Well,
Understood,
I'd
but it's
just like
not
to be
being
certain.
understood.
Sure.
I don't want him to be surprised. I'd like him to completely understand why this is being sent out. He's a good officer.
Mhm. This has to be policy and warranty and auditing purposes, not because of particular individuals ordering.
Exactly.
Right. And that needs to be expressed.
I understand. They were just trying to save money from what I understand. It's valid. I need to pick you.
Oh, no, that's fine. Now, even though they're providing us with weekly reports, didn't, stop rubbing this bald head of mine, such a habit. Didn't we also say that regardless of that, that we wanted the Public Works Director at least once a month to come before us,
Both of them.
and the Chief?
Right, and you do, I think, because that was from a prior policy.
Right.
This one
Right,
was
but
just weekly.
it doesn't say that in
Right.
there, so maybe, again, they should be made to
Yeah.
understand that, you know,
Yeah,
that hasn't gone away.
okay.
That's a good point.
Need to meet monthly.
You know, if they want to pick a specific week, first week of the month, last week of the month, middle week of the month.
I kind of would not, I would kind of like personally stay away from that because depending on what's going on, you may want to shift that around with the chief, because if different activities and events, we may want to see him with questions and so on. So
That's true, but I still thought of, with their schedules, if they
right, according to their,
chose the regular time, which can always be adjusted, I
as
think.
long as we can be flexible with it,
Mhm.
or not
I think so.
first or last.
Yeah, he had quite an extensive report this week. Yeah. All the advertisements have been put in the paper. So far, that I'm aware of, we have 2 responses to the land use technician, and we've had 3 truck driver ones and 1 seasonal laborer. One of the truck driver ones may be seasonal labor. There's 2 that Brock has spoken with, but he wants to sit and have a formal interview. And also so I can explain benefits and how the town is organized, and because I don't know what he's told them, so, you know. So we'll do that. I did run 1 more week this week, but I haven't received anything. So that will be 3 weeks that we'll advertise at least one. And so we'll bring you, or Brock will bring you a recommendation, and if either of these
The top 2.
turn out, and then the board can interview them and make a decision.
The top 2, right?
Oh, I do need a brief non-public to discuss personnel,
Are we discussing
individuals,
the last week's tax issue,
taxes.
MC&G?
Oh, I think I put that for, did I put that under assessing? Yeah, requested non-public to discuss that one as well. But this one is personnel. This came up Tuesday. And I told the person, I said, I will bring this to the board's attention. Okay, I didn't get any comments back on the final trench permit fill-in form, so can I go ahead and post that on the website? What I was going to suggest is, why don't we try it, see how it works, and if we find it needs tweaking, we can always tweak it later, but we need to get it out there, because I want to send it to all the utility companies, make sure Brock has a stack of them, make sure we have a stack of them, just in case they don't. Okay, flexible spending agreement needs to be signed. Did you get that?
It was one of the first things I saw going around.
It's right here.
Okay. Jesse reviewed it. Not next week, but the week when I get back, I'll also have the one for the flexible benefit strategies. So this is a follow-up. Some time ago, the commissioners had asked to meet with the board, and I know the board had talked about it, but I don't think we ever set a date.
No, we didn't. We have a public hearing next week, and you're going to be going.
Yep.
Um,
I'm going to watch it on Friday on the web.
I don't have a calendar in front of me,
Yeah.
so what do we think?
The 18th is the public hearing, so
Should we do it
we can
the
do
week
it.
after the 18th?
The 25th is the,
June.
that would be
So the first Thursday in June?
Memorial Day
That's good.
weekend. June 1st is the first weekend in June.
Was it first?
Everybody?
First Thursday,
Yes.
first Thursday,
Yes.
June. Okay.
Is that all right?
That's one.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking after that public hearing, we need to deliberate on that. We need to finalize that, get that going.
Are these commissioners?
The fire
Yeah, just fire
district.
commissioners. And what time should I tell them?
We'll put them in order,
Put 'em, yeah. 5 o'clock, everybody?
5 and then,
Anytime, yeah.
well,
Roll crispy?
I think we need to just ask them, because some of them work, they don't get out until 5. So they may, let's send it and,
So tentatively 5, and if,
As early as possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, you know,
we'll
if it's 5:30
accommodate
or 6, just make it so.
Okay, the warrant's being signed, appeal one, this is, okay. I printed it off, but I don't have, I'm not entirely prepared for this, but I figure we could at least start, and I'll tell you what the issues are. Let's see. I can do it from memory. Recap. Before town meeting, the selectmen had voted to keep the manufactured housing parks in, and that we would wait until the results of town meeting before we changed any ordinances or changed the plan on what we're going to do for MSW and single street. I think it was like so before town meeting, we did vote, Joe Jessman had an amendment to, didn't add any money in the budget, but to change the ordinance, the selectmen's ordinance, to allow all manufactured housing parks. Okay. We get to town meeting, and town meeting adopted the hybrid program, including all the manufactured housing parks, and there was an adjustment made to the budget. It was under 14,000, let's say 14,000, to include Jensen's Trailer Park. That's to buy the bins and to pay.
I just couldn't hear back there.
Yeah, sorry. So in the meantime, we told Tony, go ahead and order the truck, order your bins, and we had taken back our bins. And I had originally thought we would just have him deliver all the bins, but the people in the mobile home parks wanted them sooner. So that's what we did on Tuesday. That on Monday, the highway guys had power washed all the bins, and we did it within 2 hours, delivered them. The only problem, and they've been very happy, so appreciative, was what a difference from taking them away. and just you know, couldn't wait for when do we get the other bins and when's it going to start. And I said soon, within a couple weeks, and we'll send out notices. You'll get notices, and you know, just got to be a little more patient. And I said, but you know, the selectmen kept their promise, and they did what they said. So here's your bin back. And I recorded all the numbers, and Brock and I have set up a really good system to keep track of all this. We only had 8 bins left, and there were only 2 of the smaller bins, which went into the Windsor Road one. Okay. We had no bins to give to Country Meadows. There's 35. They've got just about all those lots filled. So we know we have to order those. We know we have to order 104 for Jensen's. And at town meeting, if you recall, some people spoke up about, can you please have some of the smaller ones, just because it's easier for the elderly or someone who's handicapped to maneuver the bins. So I was going to figure at least 20 of those. We have no money appropriated at this time to pay for that. Also, Tim and I talked, and we really want to have stickers made up, similar to the ones, maybe find out who Tony gets theirs printed from, because they're impossible to get off the bins, you know, when they're slapping one on saying you're in non-compliance, that say property of the town of Tilton, New Hampshire.
How did we not appropriate monies knowing that there's a hybrid program on the warrant?
We did.
We didn't allow for bins?
For Jensen's and a few extra, yes.
How much are we short?
Well, I want to add 20
Yeah.
for the smaller ones.
Right.
Because we didn't have very many before
Right.
anyway. And we couldn't do any in Country Meadow because there are 35, we only had 8.
Again, how much money are we short in the budget to make this happen?
Buy them, well, because it also included the disposal cost. So I would have to break that out for you, that number, to find out how much is actually bins.
Well,
So what we raised and appropriated at town meeting just covered the cost of adding Jensen's?
And a little extra plus the collection of it, of
Okay.
Jensen's.
so
So you're looking at
Collection
20
of
small and 35 for Country Meadows?
Yeah.
And that doesn't leave us any extras?
Right.
How much money are we, so you have an estimate of how much money we need to look
Well, yes.
for from other places in the
Well,
budget?
no. What we're going to propose to Tony, and I had mentioned this, and I think he'll go along with it, is we just, we prorate the cost, but we don't start paying for it until January. So we prorate the cost over four. They're $55 a bin, and prorated over 4 years. With a provision that, say something happens, we no longer have a contract with them, that we would buy back at a prorated amount.
It doesn't seem to me that this is a huge amount of money for these bins,
No,
but we could find ourselves at the end of the year with enough money in the general fund to pay for them.
oh, we could, yes,
Okay.
because we were
And
going to
wouldn't
pay
we
for them
want to
anyway until,
Wouldn't we want to start paying for them after town meeting in March?
or if there's anything left in the budget.
Or if
for
there's
them.
anything left in the budget instead of January,
Well, also if it's a contract.
and we're obligated?
Peter has his hand up.
Yes, sir.
Didn't the discussions with Pinard say that they could finagle a way to pay for the bins and figure it into the contract so we wouldn't have to?
I think that was the garbage bin.
For the garbage bins, because he was going to save money on labor.
But if we're negotiating a contract that hasn't been fully negotiated, correct?
No, it's fully negotiated. This would be an amendment.
Okay, so you could amend, because he's going to amortize it over 5 years.
4 years.
4 years? Okay.
Yeah, we're asking for him to, so, okay. So that's something that,
It's January to December.
that's a conversation that hasn't taken place yet.
Right, this is,
Okay.
we would,
All right.
Tim and I have talked about it, I've mentioned it, I think Tim has mentioned it to him. He said he'd be more than happy to order them through his company, and could we work out that way, because we're
So-
doing appropriation.
Can we have Tim have that conversation, since you'll be gone next week? And you'll have a figure of exactly how many? Will it include extras?
Well, I
So we
figured-
have at least a few down there for people?
Yeah, I mean, we're always gonna have new people coming in. people
Exactly.
Taking the bins.
And
There's
people-
also, this comes up to another thing you have to decide. There are a number of people out there that had requested extra bins because they had more recycling. I don't know who has them, but Tim said he has seen different places, I haven't seen it, but where there's extra bins. So this will be another policy question. Do you want, if people want to have the convenience of having another bin for their recyclables, make them pay for the full one and they own it? Because the way for this to work is to have, because I did notice other people, like in Windsor, off Windsor Road, they had gone and purchased recycling bins, which you would say, oh, that they look like ours, but they aren't really like ours at all. So I don't see how his trucks can be able to pick up these like Home Depot things. Plus, I've seen with my own, even with Casella, and how you've seen with Pinard, when these things get thrown down, they can crack and they're, you know.
Speaking of thrown down and all, can we have a chat with Pinard leaving the school today on that nice curve on Winter Street? We have a recycle bin over the fog line.
Yeah, they aren't very
They're
good.
dropping them right on the fog line in a lot of places. And
They're not real good about that.
Right.
If we're going to require people who now want extra bins, then what do we do with the people that already have extra bins? It's like we're penalizing those people that didn't get them sooner.
Right. Well, the other thing is, which is another policy question, and I printed all this stuff out, but I don't know where it went down there. That the number of units that are more than 5, excluding residential units, excluding Main Street, because I went back and checked the minutes, you did reaffirm with Pinard in the contract that they were exempt. We're going to have to take all their bins away,
Why is that?
because they are no longer part of the curbside collection.
Main Street is no longer part of the curbside?
No, with the exception of.
The exception of
Oh.
Main Street.
Oh,
So people with more than 5 units.
So we'll be able to pick
No.
up quite a few bins.
how many units keeps you in the program?
4.
4.
Okay.
And I have all those reports printed out.
4 or 5? I thought
Five
it
is
was more
commercial.
than, was
5
it
or
more than
more.
5 or more.
Okay.
5 or more.
Okay.
It's 5 or more.
Here, I printed these just so you know what we're dealing with.
Just give them, now passing down.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Oh, oops.
I have a, you need one.
Yep.
So I'm one of the people that have 3 for a 2-family house.
Yep.
And every other week it's filled, all 3. I've had it since the day it came, because we were allowed to. My fear is the record keeping, and I mean no disrespect in any way, but our record keeping, can we be assured that if we go into a policy that says, well, from this day forward, if you have somebody that wants an extra bin and they pay for it, now that's theirs, how can we be assured that our record keeping is going to be accurate, defined, and now we know that this bin with this serial number on it is theirs? I don't know. I think that would be more difficult. Particularly with apartment places. So if you get an apartment that has 4 and they have one apartment that has a family of 5 and they have a lot of recycling that they do, and they have 2 bins and they get swapped around within the apartment yard, I think it would be more difficult.
Well, right now, Tony is picking up recyclables from other containers manually, as long as they're clearly, like it says right on the instructions, like if you're doing cardboard, you have to have your cardboard busted up to a certain dimension before you go pick it up. So, but if you do that, then that defeats the purpose of making it easier to
Lift it up.
lift it up.
I agree. I saw a lot of them on the route today with boxes with broken up cardboard within the box and then over the recycling. So it kind of makes, he actually did go in with the arm and pick it up. The boxes went with it.
Yeah, they can, if you set your box on the recycle bin, they can grab it, dump everything, as long as you don't want that box back. So
Right.
put a cardboard box with recyclables.
All right, well, let's
Right,
be
so
thinking about
The
that.
question on the table is, are we going to charge people who want more bins for the bin? I say no. Not unless we take all the extras back and make everybody pay for the extra bin.
I think if it becomes an issue, I think we should revisit it.
Yeah.
I think that's at that point we should do that if it becomes an issue.
Right, because right now, I'll have to ask Tony, like these people that are using their own now, what kind can his truck pick up?
Yeah,
Because
just ask
maybe he can pick these up. The nice thing about the recycling bins is because it keeps the water out, because you can
So
store it
are the
outside.
Home Depot ones rectangular or square?
Yes, I have
Because
one of those.
it comes with an arm, it grabs and then lifts.
They picked mine up. I have one from Home Depot.
They did pick it
It's
up?
similar to, it's gray and black, but it's similar to the recycling style. It's a little
Yeah.
bit shorter,
Yeah,
and they picked that up for the garbage. It was MSW.
okay, why don't we
There's
see
also one of those bars in the
if
front.
there's a style that,
Why don't you just ask Tony what you were going to ask him, whether or not he can pick those up?
yeah.
Because that's
if you can
really,
pick 'em up. Yeah.
that's the deciding factor, is what is Pinard able to pick up? Or willing to pick up? Is he willing to pick up a privately owned recycle bin? Because who's going to be responsible if they break it? Joe?
I have a semi-heavy duty rectangular bin that I put excess recycling in. And I met the guy at the curb a couple of weeks ago, and he says, yeah, I don't care about the second bin, I just get out and dump it, it's real easy. I said, well, pick it up, see if you can pick it up. And he picked it up and he dumped it, and those things, they're like, whammo! And maybe if you got a real one with a bar that was made for it, but just like a regular bin, it smushed it pretty good. It came back to shape, but 4 or 5 times to that, the bin would be back.
Yeah, so I would ask
Yeah,
Tony,
real cold days, it would be
Cold
back.
days, yeah.
I would ask Tony if he's willing to pick them up, as well as Kenny, because somebody's,
Because if
we're
if
gonna
they
hear
break
back.
one,
If they break it, we're gonna hear about it.
Who's gonna pay for it?
Yep.
I know you'll hear about it.
Okay, next.
The personal ones, they wouldn't do it. because
Okay, now this is a sticky one. Now, when Tony was here, see, I was under the impression that they would pick up as many purple bags that were there of excess. And he said no.
Mm-mm.
If they can get it to sit on the top,
Mhm.
it'll flop it in.
Mhm.
Okay? He doesn't care how many purple bags we sell or how many of our purple bags are down at the recycling, because that's not part of the contract.
Mhm.
See, right now, if somebody takes their dump down to the thing, that's part of the contract. There should only be one dumpster.
So if I
According to our
have three
ordinance.
33-gallon bags in my MSW container, and I need just one mower, so I buy a purple bag, which is what the rules are, and then I put that on top,
He'll take
he'll
that.
take that.
Because he can reach out and dump it with it on top. The whole idea of this is he wants to save money by having a one-man band in that truck automatically
It's fast.
putting garbage in without the guy having to get out and pick up bags of garbage. That's what he said.
All right, because right now,
So
we
what's
have,
the solution?
well, that's what we need to think about. Our ordinance says
Purple bags at town garage?
that you're also allowed to take, plus commercial, a limit of 2 trash bags per residential unit may be delivered to the Tilton Public Works for disposal. Okay, right now, those bags are going in 8-yard dumpsters with Kennard's name on them.
And these big ones.
So, and as you recall, it costs $66.66 per ton.
So do we add a limit of 2 33-gallon purple town of Tilton trash bags?
Well, I'm just
But
wondering,
if you bring your own, you should be able to bring 3.
I'm sorry,
There's a limit of 2.
the only thing that can go in those dumpsters are purple trash bags. Okay, that we're clear on.
Doesn't say that here.
No, because we need to add that. 'cause
That's what I just asked.
Yeah,
That's what she was asking. Okay.
all right,
Then the same with the commercial?
yeah,
So
right,
you
because,
cannot say 2 33-gallon trash bags per residential, because our purple bags are not 33-gallon bags.
well, they're just gonna say Town of Tilton.
Right.
You
Well, limit
say
of 2.
2
Town of Tilton.
town of Tilton trash bags per residential unit, and just take out the gallon.
And do the same with the commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're allowed 3, oh wait, a limit of 2 may be delivered to the Public Works facility, yes.
So just put town of Tilton.
Okay, now, what do we do when somebody comes down and they say, I'm in a 3-unit and they've got like 9 bags? We just go ahead and accept them. They have to tell the attendant, because the attendant's gonna say, I'm sorry, you have more than 2 bags. Then they have to say, well, I live at such and such and it's a 4-unit. And so these are some of the other people's bags I'm bringing down.
So you're saying, let's say I live across the street. This, what, however many units, 3 or 4 units across the street, and I'm the good person that's going to collect everybody's extra garbage, and I'm going to bring it down. And I show up and I've got, 5 or 6 bags, purple bags, and I can only get rid of 2 because each individual is allowed 2. So what do I need? A signed statement from the dweller in the units that I'm delivering trash for? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anybody?
So think about this, if you have a 3-family, 4-family house, the landlord, I mean, if we're only allowing them 3 33-gallon bags, then they have purple bags, and their tenants don't have the means to take their extra bags down to down a highway garage, the landlord takes the bags down. How many are they going to be limited? I mean, I have a 2-family, so that would mean 6 bags. But how could you identify that I have a 2-family?
You'd have to
No,
come
it'd be-
into town hall
It would be 4
and get a
bags.
certificate signed by the
4.
town clerk that shows that you are the property manager, owner of X property with this number of apartments in it. And then each time you brought garbage down there, you'd have to show that.
So would
Because-
the tenants do that, or would the landlord do that? Because if you have tenants that, I think that's going to be a very sticky situation. If you have tenants that say, hey, you know what, I'll go down. Okay, the landlord says, yeah, we'll make sure you take the others too. Great, no problem. Then they all go down. Now each tenant has to have that affidavit. So we need
How
to figure
much does
something
it
out.
cost us to throw out one purple bag?
$66 a ton.
How much average? I mean, are we going to, does it matter if we're already making a profit off of that bag with the trash in it? Is it worth all the hassle and policing and,
Well, here's
you
the
know, if they're paying
problem.
$1.75 for a purple bag?
Here's the
They throw
problem.
10.
The only problem I foresee, and we just went through spring cleanup week, amnesty week, and it's always an issue, is commercial haulers. I've just subcontracted to do a job, and I've got a truckload of shingles. Now, how does the public works people differentiate me, a subcontractor who doesn't live in town, but I'm going to get rid of my stuff that somebody paid me to dispose of free, from Catherine Dawson resident who's taking her shingles from her property where I'm a taxpayer then? How do they discern that?
They look at a driver's license or the registration, just make sure that they're a Tilton resident.
Don't we still have stickers?
We still have subcontractors that live within the town of Tilton.
I think we're
I
all.
could have done a
you know,
job in Belmont.
They're going to find loopholes no matter what.
Right.
There are going to be those people that will find those loopholes.
But it's not in the woods, no. You know.
Right.
But John makes a good point. If they're
Yeah.
buying the bag,
Yeah, why would we?
Right.
Well, here's an example. There's a resident that spoke at town meeting that said, hauling those bins down to the end of the road
yes.
is, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take my bags down to the thing. So we're paying twice for that. Not that it makes any difference really, I guess, in the big picture, because we're paying for collection anyway.
Right.
But if they now have to buy the purple bags to get rid of that trash,
Yeah.
it's like John says, does it really
it worth
become an
police?
issue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it really matter if the resident over here brings down 6 purple bags or 3?
Right.
So the cost of the bag
Because 6
is
we're
more
getting,
than what
$1.50.
it costs
we're
to
getting
get rid of it.
$10 for the 6 bags or whatever it
It'll
comes out to be.
probably offset it. It won't all offset it, but.
Well, it depends what you have in that bag. It'd have to be a
Right.
pretty heavy bag,
It'll subsidize.
Yeah.
but it
Right.
will.
Well, and it's a convenient, like, remember that one time on Wednesday, those women came in, they said, geez, we had a party, we've got extra trash, can we
Yeah.
buy trash bags to get
Yes.
rid of it?
That's right.
I say there's more people that abide by it than
Mhm.
don't. So I guess we just look for the exceptions
I
when
think-
they happen.
Yeah.
As long as it's just purple bags down there,
But
I think
you're
John's
gonna-
point is well taken.
Right, and I think you're going to have that exception because you have people that visit and they have parties, and you're going to have family things that go on. And they may have an extra bag, which they'll bring down, or 2 extra bags.
You forget to put your trash out.
Right. I think that'll be the exception.
Okay, so what we need to clarify with Tony is, right now, I don't know, I mean, I know that in our contract, or I should say, what the practice has been, I don't know if it's in our contract, I want to double check and make sure that it is, that the town's garbage, like
highway garbage.
Yep.
We have access here, we say, Brock, come pick up this stuff.
Yeah.
People that can't come, they go there, and then if somebody says, oh, I missed a trash, oh, go throw it in. That is part of our curbside collection. Okay, paying, because they haul that down to
Co-op.
co-op. So, if we're gonna do more purple bags, we need to be clear on who's paying for that transportation. We know we're paying for the disposal, but is Bernard hauling these extra stops down? I don't know the answer to that. Because if we're doing it ourselves, why have a limit? Because to enforce the limit, as long as it's in a purple bag and you show you are a resident, let me see your driver's license, let me see your registration.
Should have a dump sticker.
And your
I
dump
agree with you.
sticker.
Can you get the answer to that?
I would love to.
That, I think you should get the answer to that.
And then you don't need to be counting bags.
Right.
The other thing,
Does the board agree with that?
Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
Because they're paying for it. They're paying through the cost of the bags, but
I agree.
those numbers, you need Tim to crank those.
I agree. Totally agree.
the other thing is, when we say the bags, should we say, like 233-gallon purple bags containing household refuse?
MSW, yeah, household.
What about a weight limit? So if someone is starting to come down once a week, you know, and looks suspicious, the
You're using the
attendant.
purple bags.
You're not gonna give
Nobody-
it to
Yeah, you're not gonna
them.
break.
Self-policing bags.
They won't be able to put too much weight in those
So
bags.
then a contractor wouldn't be putting stuff in those bags. then?
Nope. Not unless it was fiberglass insulation, which doesn't have much weight.
Well, and one of the residents at Huntbrook said, so with this new solid waste, I'm still gonna have to buy bags? And I said, no, I said, why don't you hang on to your, for the MSW bins, why don't you hang on to your grocery plastic bags, and when you have your kitchen trash, wrap it up and throw that bag in your new MSW bin. It doesn't have to be 3 stuffed full bins, it's as long as they're in a bag in the
Just want kept
MSW.
clean.
You know, you don't have to go buy heavy-duty bags for that.
That's something we need to check on.
I could help.
We have an ambulance downstairs taking one of Heather's clients. Picking up one of Heather's clients. Pat's gonna go check and see if everything's okay. Thank you, Pat.
So, the other item is, I went through the list of people that haven't returned their waivers yet. Very few. It's very few that haven't. So I'm
You're
gonna
talking about private road waivers?
send out a, and the other thing that, what he wants to make sure is in the manufactured housing parks, and they've all agreed to do it, that he wants to have like a vote, like the co-op, a vote of the co-op saying that they're authorized to sign the waiver, and the other mobile homes always already just send it, they'll sign it, send it in. Where we're gonna have some resistance, I think, is I have to send a letter to these people that are 5 or more, because they've been being picked up.
Are you talking like, oh, that we've changed to 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is, if, like, if we set a date that's going to start on June 1st, we should notify anybody that's new, like Jensen's, at least 15 days beforehand or something like that, so that they don't go and bill their tenants.
Well, I don't
or
think
their-
we're gonna be starting June 1st then.
Isn't that what we said? I
We'd
thought
have to
you
be
said-
ready to go
in
next
June,
week.
in the month of June. Whenever we've made any changes, we've made them in June, or when we changed again, it was in September.
Oh, good. So when are we thinking of changing
It's
this?
sometime in June. No one ever said June 1st. I've never said June 1st.
You said July 1st, and then you said
I think
change it to
Tony
June.
said there's a
When
possibility if everything,
We could
you
get,
know,
we could get it going.
yeah.
That would be the earliest.
if the
But what I'm
earliest
saying
would be
is,
June
we
1st.
need to notify, like Jensen, so they can make arrangements for their dumpster and their billing.
Yeah.
So
And we
we're
have to
gonna
tell them
call
at
them
least
as-
15 days in
As soon
advance.
as I knew when Tony was ready. And also, we need to do we should be getting ready to do a 2018 calendar pretty soon. The ones that Casella does, it's a magnet, and they have 2 years on the magnet, and it's highlighted.
It's good.
Stick it on your refrigerator.
So, does,
Those are the only major issues.
and is this what Pinard need, is this what Tony Belanger needs to get going?
Yes.
Or does he need the quantity of bins and,
Oh, well, he would need to know how many we need to order.
okay.
But what I'm saying is we could get some back, but how are we gonna get them back from these people?
You're not. And quite frankly, if they're recycling in them, that's great. We could send out a plea that if you have an extra bin and you're not using it, please bring it in to town garage so someone else can. We could send out a
Pick it
plea.
up.
We'd be glad to pick it up. Please contact us, something like
Because
that.
they're gonna have to have a dumpster. There's a place on Academy Street here that, oh, and there's another one, if you get a chance, go up Winter Street, be the second place on the left, and count the number of recycled dumpsters there.
To a single-family dwelling unit?
No, it's a multifamily.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So can you get with Tim tomorrow so that some of this stuff could take place while you're gone?
Yep, and I will also
Excellent.
talk with Tony tomorrow. I didn't want to talk with Tony anymore until I spoke with him.
Is everybody good with this?
Yep.
Peter?
I'll go ahead and get my
Fine.
letters ready.
Yep.
All right, good. Thank you,
Gail can
Jim.
send out the letters, and I think it will just be such a nice thing.
We want to talk trash to each other all the time.
Okay. Nothing to report on the police station this week, Main Street sidewalk. Yes, I sent you out emails. I had gotten in touch with 4 different people. The only person that I'm aware of that showed up was Yanni, and he had sent a letter. Was that forwarded to you? Did you get that?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? I totally am lost.
Oh, yeah, it would help if I told you what we were talking about. I'm on Main Street sidewalk. And
Oh, up
we're
front.
talking about
Okay.
the windows.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And also an estimate for getting that work done by a contractor.
What work?
The wall, it's at that.
Oh,
that
yes,
highway.
yeah, Brock said he was
Yeah.
after that.
And,
I talked to the gentleman that brought in that estimate yesterday.
okay,
Yeah, he was quite adamant that he couldn't do the work more than he wanted to accomplish, and felt that we should definitely leave that ramp there. And I said, but could you brick in those windows if we choose to do that with the ramp there? And of course, no. So that's the question.
yeah,
Oh,
he wasn't really a mason.
no.
And I haven't heard from the others, so I don't know. And I haven't heard from Brock. I know he's been in touch with Gary Breton, but I don't know when Gary was planning on starting.
That would be the issue. I don't want to belabor the ramp to hold up this project. But it sounded like when he was here that he was looking at this for a, didn't you think, late in the summer project?
Oop, Breton.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't something he was going to do right now. But I think it was a later in
Why
the...
can't he do it? Why aren't we getting it done right away? I understand.
Because we went out too late for the bids. These contractors pretty much have their summer work scheduled
I
by
do- I
February.
understand that, but I don't want to hold it up because of Old Home Day or downtown
Mhm.
thing. I don't think that should hold up the sidewalk out here in any way, if they could.
Now,
schedule
Old
it.
Home Day really kind of bypasses this.
And any of it, you go take a drive through New York. There's never a complete sidewalk. People can go around it, let's just get her done.
But he himself, I think, said, he seemed to indicate that it was going to be,
The more you tie your contractor's hands, the more you're
Yeah.
gonna pay.
And that's
Give
what I'm
him the
saying.
season, huh?
Don't limit the time that he can come in here because of any holidays or parades or anything.
well, the ramp is the issue now.
Well, what I had spoken with that individual with was primarily the ramp, and I also brought him up here to see about this, to get an estimate for that. And he said he was interested in that, but he would need more information from the board exactly how you want it. Do you want it insulated? Do you want, you know, he just had a ton of questions. I said, oh, when we talk about
It should be insulated, I think, because the primary reason is for heating and air conditioning. So there should be some kind of insulation in it. I mean, the insulation's cheap,
Also sound deadening.
Right.
sound, yeah, for that wall.
So do you want it, the sheetrock over it, or some less expensive?
Oh, well, I thought we were going to sheetrock it so
Sheet
that,
rock both sides, 2x4 construction.
Sure.
With,
That was the question, did you
yeah.
want 2x4, 2x6?
2x4 construction.
2x4 for the interior.
yeah,
And,
I thought we wanted sheetrock
and just,
so that we could use it for a projector screen.
and just sound insulation, so.
You can also paint it.
Yeah, mud it, and that was the other question. He said, you know, he could put the mud in the first coat, you know, if he wanted to paint it.
And
Yes,
just,
completed. Let's get the job
But there
completed.
was some talk about putting the emblem or something. Let's not do that because then we will lose projection space.
Well, if you paint it like a light beige or you know, off-white,
Yep.
And then he had said that he wasn't really a mason, and it would be a lot more work than he has in his time frame. And then the other company that's there down past you, he came, he had left his card, but I haven't gotten anything from him yet.
Okay.
And I called another person I know that does do masonry work on the side, and I haven't heard back from him. I don't have a message. So that's kind of still up in the air for now. Old Route 3, Peter and I met out at the Route 3 and 11 off Laconia Road, and I'll let you speak to that. Oh, we found the bounds. I took pictures of the bounds.
You got them in?
yep. So at this point, we could probably squeeze everything in, not moving any poles. Has anyone heard back from Brock, what he heard from Eversource? Because he had left them, contacted them last week.
No.
The only thing, when you first come in, we probably wouldn't have, you gotta leave no parking by that boat storage for Winnisquam Marine on the west end, where they come in back up. But after that, we can then go on the left side against the curb by the sidewalk down to just before the stop sign.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have Tim Bernier.
Yes, and I haven't received anything back from him yet this week. I thought he'd have something for tonight, but I'll call him tomorrow.
Yeah, call him, we definitely need something for next week. That's, yeah. Thank you.
And there was some curbing there that, on the Winnisquam boat side, that looks like it needs to be reset. Needs to be pulled up.
Have we still, Brock thought he could get this under monies that he has in
In a CIP,
the,
yeah.
that we could get done this year?
Yep.
We still on target for
Yep.
that?
Yeah, and I'm surprised he hasn't given you, he's gotten a couple estimates, of just general estimates, not like a bid thing, just estimates of what it would cost, because he wanted to know
It's my dears.
himself, yeah. Okay. Yes, what is the road classification of Wolf Road?
It's always been considered a private road.
Do we have a right-of-way over it?
Okay, so if you go up Wolf Road, it turns to the right and goes up to the Wolf residence,
Yeah.
and then there's a gate, and you go through the gate, and at the beginning of the gate, our property begins. Our boundary is pretty much there,
Is the beginning of the gate?
is where the gate is. That's actually where the garbage is too. Wolf Road itself has always been,
Show me on this little map.
right about where the end of the W is
Okay.
on this map. That's where the, oh no.
So in our deed to that, it says we have a right to go over Wolf Road because I was accosted.
On our deed,
Sure.
Well, back when we went.
on our deed, our right-of-way on our right-of-way on the plan. Okay, now you're talking about something different. So our right-of-way to our property, we have a right-of-way over what is now Jerry Shaley's property from Route 3. That's on the subdivision plan that created those lots along Route 3 in our
So
property.
we have no right to be on Wolf Road.
Um,
I'm just afraid that Brock's gonna go out there and pick that stuff up and he's gonna run into
We
this
own
individual.
property on Wolf Road. How do we get to the property?
That's what I'm asking.
So I can show you better on this. Because this, so, and I'll pass this down. This is the Wolf property, number 14. Our property is number 15. I've written Town of Tilton there. And you can see, here's the gate, all right? And there's, to get to our property. Then this is an access road. This is actually a right-of-way. It's a right-of-way to access public services right-of-way. But he can't bar us from accessing our property. You're looking at the magic grill.
So who do you think owns Wolf Road?
The abutters.
The abutters.
That was another subdivision.
All right, so the gate is there, and that's where the trash is. So what right do we have to go on there to, I mean, when we went up just to see what was back there to, see how many houses and who had recycling bins, he was out there ready, he was gunning for bear.
Yeah, well, they want the town to pick it up.
All right.
And
Well, I believe it's Kilmister, who is, see, yeah, because 19 gets on to there, so it would be Kilmister. Because Severeid,
I don't
Which
mind.
trash is it?
it's dumped.
Okay, this trash was dumped as far as we can figure, last fall. What happened is an apartment company over in Franklin had a vacated apartment. Had a vacated apartment where all this stuff was left behind, and they hired a subcontractor to clean it up and paid them to dispose of it. Well, the subcontractor drove up Wolf Road and dumped her out. Police investigated it and could not, I mean, they could find,
Show where she said the gate was.
when I was just there yesterday, there was a lot of paper evidence of who it once belonged to, but the police could no longer find the subcontractor who actually did the illegal dumping. They closed the case. However, for me as health officer, there are 3 air conditioning units there.
Okay, so you did go out and see it.
I went out yesterday and took pictures and had
Okay.
Matt Dawson meet me there.
Oh, good, good.
And then Nate Morrison called me today, the sergeant called me, and we had that conversation.
Okay.
So the 3 air conditioners represent a public health because of the hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs. But not only that, there's rodents. I had some scurry. They don't bother me, but it needs to be picked up.
But we need to notify these people that this is a private road, it's not the responsibility of the town of Tilton. They should put signs up that say no dumping, they should patrol it regularly, and if somebody's doing it, then they should clean it
Well,
up.
and that's why I brought my report and this with me tonight, because I was going to ask the
Okay.
board, it's one of these,
Yeah.
I missed what you guys said, I'm sorry. Why couldn't they get a hold of the subcontractor?
Gone, just gone. They can't locate him, he's a fly-by-nighter, just, you know.
They had a name and everything for the guy?
Evidently, yes. I didn't, once he said that they had closed the case, you know. No, I mean, for me, it's an issue of, you do have this trash that needs to be picked up.
And whose property is it on?
It's right on the right-of-way. If we wanted to access the town's property, we would not be able to.
Well, I suggest Brock take some company.
But I can bring that up
Well,
under my
right, but
report.
let that individual know, send them a note and let them
Well,
know.
we're talking about it now. So my feeling was, I'm kind of where Joyce is. It's private property. It is, we happen to be one of the property owners out there. There's nothing in our deed that specifically grants us the right to pass over that private road. So, having said that, my suggestion is that I notify the property owners and let them know that they have to pick it up. It looks like it's, like I said, it's on the right of way.
How would they dispose of it properly?
It's right there. So it's up beyond where it says Wolf Road. Yes, it's beyond Wolf Road. It's up there, right? It's over here.
But it's not on town property. So,
It actually, yes, well, actually it is. So it's on the border. Actually, you're right. It's not on town property. The gate is here. Our property's on the other side of the gate. So it's on this side of the gate. So it's not. Might be a couple pieces that blown over, but it's not. It's here. It's on the right of way. It's not specifically on anyone else's property. It's probably closer to the public service right of way. I don't know. So that's why I'm at a loss. I mean, my feeling is to contact the abutters, let them know it's a private road. We've seen it. It does represent a hazard to the environment. I don't know if I can actually say, you have to pick it up. You put it there. Like I said, it's in the right of way. It would be much easier if it was dumped on somebody else's property. But where it's in the right of way, I suppose I could research deeds and subdivisions and find out specifically who's responsible for right of ways. But the other thing of it is,
One truck, dump truck load or a pickup truck load or how much?
I could fit that in the back of my half-ton.
So why don't we just send them a note, we're gonna clean it up. Unless you say otherwise, we're going and need your permission to do so.
Right.
And just be done with it. If he says, no, you can't, then,
I'm sure that they would.
yeah.
I know Mr. Wolf. I'm sure that if I contacted him, he would say pick it up. It's not on his property. It's not in his driveway. I'm sure the other butters would want us, if we offered to pick it up, they'd offer.
Well
They'd
said.
say pick it up.
well, what if we offered that we would let them bring it, if they pick it up and bring it down to us, that way we know it's being properly disposed.
I don't know, board opinions?
Why don't we pick it up?
It's not our property. We're not supposed to expend public money on private property.
It's on the town right of way, right?
Well, no, I
That's
can't.
why-
I can't find any specific document that gives us the right to pass over that.
And I had
It's
Jarvis
in
check.
the right of way, but
Do
not
you-
necessarily ours. What I found on our deed is the right to access Route 3 over
Shade.
Shaley's.
So in these circumstances, why don't we just pick it up?
We don't really, it's against the law to use.
I mean,
taxpayers'
personally,
money
I-
on
if
private property.
I'm confused.
if I had, I've got a vehicle. If you people don't mind, I don't mind picking it up. I can pick it up. It's just TVs, 3 air conditioners, and bags of clothes. It's garbage. I'll pick it up and bring it to the town garage. My concern is the air conditioners and the TV. The rest is, harboring rodents. Mice right now. I didn't see any rats. But, yeah. Before that leaks into the environment, I'd like to get the air conditioners and the TV on.
All right, so,
But if the board doesn't mind, I'll bring it down to the town garage.
Thank you.
But I don't mind.
If it's a weekend, give me a ring.
Pardon?
If it's a weekend, I'll put my gloves on.
Yeah?
If it's
Alright.
tomorrow, call me.
Okay, I'll see if I can,
we should let the property owners know that
Yeah.
it's not our road.
right, so with that, I can send them a letter. What I'll do is I will send them a letter letting them know it's a private road, that the town doesn't have any responsibility for picking it up. And, Board of Selectmen volunteer to pick it up for them.
If I can even
I just think,
help us, they
yeah,
can help. Everybody chip in, let's get her done,
yeah.
move on.
Okay. All right, I will do that.
I guess that's
Thank you.
enough from me, unless you guys have anything else, but
I have just one question on your agenda that's probably time sensitive, is the letter to your fifth one down. Still,
and I guess I was kind of hoping that we would talk to the fire commissioners by then, but
okay,
that was the only reason.
that might be a good idea. Okay,
Because then we'll know.
because he has to report to the board and he's waiting.
Oh, he's waiting?
So, but
Okay. All right.
the 18th, I'm sure, let's just talk with the fire commissioners first. I don't think it's going to change our opinion, but
Right, but we're not meeting with the fire commissioners on the 18th.
the 18th, right?
We said,
You said the 18th?
You're talking about letters from West
Oh,
Street,
June 1st.
West
Right,
Street
you said
resident?
18th is the public hearing.
You're talking about this one?
No, the one under.
Oh. We had already taken it off the table.
okay. No problem. Now, is there something you want to sign?
No, I think we can just
sign
send it.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think we
I'll
can
do that
just
tomorrow.
send it and
Yeah.
when you sign it, just let them know.
And I did send you all an email from the WRTA that they're replacing the fence. Okay.
Superior fence is coming up.
Did you ever find a signed copy of the memorandum of understanding?
I know where it is. I
Okay.
just
All right.
haven't get to it. Yes.
Because we have to move on that.
Yes, as long as you see it here on this list, it will get done.
We should plan on, at least by that June 1st meeting, setting up these committees, the Housing Standard Committee. We need a tenant and a landlord. Dari was going to contact some of those that served on the previous, to see if there's any interest of continuing. The police building. We should be thinking about that.
Me, I want to be on it.
Did
And,
they do the wetland? She was going to come up.
I know, we're waiting for that, but I think, I'm just saying, we should
Yeah. it was
be
just
prepared, have some names. I think we collected names for the police study committee, did we not?
Yes.
Okay. And is there another committee I'm missing? I think those are the two, right?
Recycling, we only have, who's all on recycling? Who's on the green committee?
Him.
Ashley and John.
me.
Joe.
We combined them all to the same thing.
All right.
Yep. And June. Do we still, I know I asked, but are we still publicizing on our website the need for committee and board members?
I will have to look and see.
Yeah, let's make sure
If
that
we are, it's probably, you gotta scroll down.
yeah, let's make sure that's out there, because their committee needs members, the park committee's Is the park committee down? I think they're down
Yeah.
one.
Well, they could use planning,
Yeah.
anyone who wants it.
Yes.
I think the budget's down.
Yep.
Budget is still down one?
As
Better.
of last night.
We had
Well,
an
tentatively.
anticipated resignation.
They didn't submit it in writing, but it was verbal.
It was verbal to
John.
Selectman John.
Told them I'm not gonna
So that's
be doing
pretty-
it anymore.
They couldn't meet last night because they didn't have a quorum. Did you have to have,
Oh,
we have to have 5 now?
Yep.
4.
All right, so we're moving right along.
Got herd of turtles.
One more question for Joyce. Did you speak with Jesse on taking a look or whatever on the panhandling? Or was that something that we were supposed to
I
do?
was not aware of
Okay.
the panhandling. I know we got a letter from someone. Did the board discuss it last week?
Yeah.
Panhandling?
Yeah. Was it in the
Mhm.
minutes?
We did have a conversation
something
about
in the
it,
minutes.
because I talked
Um,
about how Concord's, somebody's ordinance, I think it was Concord's, was repealed.
Yeah, we were going to talk to Jesse, but I didn't know who was going to talk to Jesse. It wasn't clear.
Well, Ryan Martin had brought up an example of a panhandling ordinance some years ago. He brought it to the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
And that's when, shortly after that, that's when Concord's was challenged. And Concord lost their challenge. And then we suggested that,
So is this panhandling door to door or
No.
panhandling?
no, this is
Standing on a
panhandling, this is
corner,
begging.
pan-
This
Okay,
is, you
okay.
know, asking for a
Street
handout.
Going,
Yeah,
standing on the corner,
Yeah.
going out to the vehicle.
So
knocking on the
we
window.
asked that Jesse work with the captain, because he's the one who, to
Okay.
create something they think might not violate people's civil rights.
okay, and this was the letter that we received that triggered this? No, two separate different.
No, there was a
separate-
person actually
In the
On-
process.
in the, doing this.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
I'll find out.
We still haven't heard from the plumber?
No, he, was doing some big job. I know he came and looked at your hot water heater at the riverfront
Oh,
farm.
this is the same plumber that
Yeah.
Brock's using? Is he the only one that's looked at?
Yes. He's the only one that looked at it and said, yeah, you can do it, but he just hasn't done it, so I tell you, it's hard to get plumbers. I'll call around. And he was also going to put new sinks underneath the 2 sinks. He said what happens is when water doesn't drain, that over the years, they just get so encrusted with stuff that it's just easier just to replace the pipe. Our 2 sinks in our restrooms, you put water doesn't go down, it takes forever to go down.
Yeah, I mean, usually you replace those S-traps or,
S-traps.
yeah, you just periodically, it's just, it's a
Yeah,
maintenance
says
thing.
You don't want to look at it, just have a plumber do it.
Oh, it's fun to see
No,
what they do stuff.
you may like it, but-
You know they do stuff. Oh, I remember that ring.
and then you get, water will flow.
Yes, he's right.
Nobody's putting tobacco chewing in there, right?
No,
Well,
It's kind of
no. There may be a few pieces of lettuce, things like that, because we have to wash our dishes.
coffee grounds.
Possibly, yes.
Okay. So we'll have, when will we have job descriptions finished?
As soon
Will
as I-
Dari have those, or is that
I'll
something
get-
you're doing?
I just need to touch base with him, make sure we're both on the same page.
Okay.
I did go ahead and post the one that we had on the website, and which, you know, we can always amend,
Okay.
because I needed something to put up there.
Public, do you have anything for us?
Thank you for taking care of the garbage thing.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You left a legacy when it comes to trash and recycling.
Oh, and a 30-pound bag of garbage costs 99 cents approximately in Pinnacle. That's what a bag
Thank
of
you.
garbage
Did everybody hear
costs.
that? Where did you get that?
So,
$66 a ton divided by 2,000 pounds times 30 pounds per bag is 99 cents.
So we're
So
making
we're not
50
gonna
cents a
have-
bag, or 51.
well,
I'm not a math guy like
plus trucking.
Selectman Pond, but no, you.
So it's a good price.
Should we talk about the tire machine?
You just read my mind. I just was saying 6:30. We're talking about a tire machine.
So I was asked if Northfield could have the old tire machine that was given to us by Franklin, the city of Franklin, and the city of Franklin does not want it back. Brock has called them. We have no use for it because we bought new equipment.
Comments?
I say give it to them.
Peter?
I make a motion, we give the tire machine to the town of
I'd
Northfield.
like to have a comment first.
I second that motion.
Well, don't you need to have a motion to discuss?
No. You don't need to have a motion to vote. But we'll have discussion on the motion before we vote.
Oh, thank you.
Ashley? I'm curious if it has any value, but John, go ahead.
Well, anytime we liquidate an asset that belongs to the town, I think that there should be some monetary exchange, and it exchanged that it was. We helped, Northfield helped, and it's just like if you give somebody a car, you bill a sale, $1,
Is that
$10, $15, who knows? We could put that on Craigslist and get $200
I doubt
for it, or
it.
whatever. We don't know the value of it. It's hard to get the thing out of it. It's clunky. It's all nobody. It's probably 9B.
Well, I looked at it when I was down at Amnesty
Some type
Week.
of value.
They showed it to me, and there's a value there. It may not be a commercial garage. I'm surprised that Northfield Garage wants it. It looks to me more like Mr. Homeowner who may have a number of cars, but there's got to be a monetary value. And if it's town property, and since it's our possession, I have to think of it as town property. I think we should be looking at a value of it to it.
How about the value we paid to receive it?
Regardless of what
Could be
we might
donations.
have paid or if it was given to us, it is in our possession. And to do our best for the taxpayers is to get, if it has a value, is to get that value out of it.
So what do you want to
Email.
do? Send it to the state auction and see
Yeah.
what they get for it,
Put it
or?
on Craigslist.
Come on. This really irritates me. We're trying to
What?
create some kind
Build
of
a bridge.
sense of goodwill here. And, I'm not in favor of the goodwill with the Lakes Region Mutual Aid, where it's $10,000s of dollars. However, a tire machine that was given to us that somebody else could use, regardless whether it's Northfield, Samberton, Belmont, or anybody, if it's another town that could get use out of something that's sitting in our garage that we could use the space right now, because space is limited,
It's in the shed.
I cannot
It's from one
fathom
public
us not-
entity to another public entity.
We were given a wood chipper.
from a public
Given.
entity.
Didn't cost us anything. But the value of that wood chipper is probably a couple $1,000s.
And we
Would we
would-
give that away
We
to a
use it.
municipality?
We use it, and we put money into fixing it
Regardless.
and
Right.
sharpening it, so no, we wouldn't.
And we haven't, this
This
hasn't
was given
cost
to
us
us
anything.
free.
We haven't put
From
any money
another
into it.
city, from another town.
Our
Why wouldn't we give it
responsibility is
another
to the
town for
taxpayer,
free?
and our best responsibility to the taxpayer is to get,
My understanding that
Dollar.
the city of Franklin actually owns it.
they give it back to Franklin and
They
let
don't
them-
want it.
Well, give it back to Franklin, say they want it, and then they can give it to Northfield.
I mean,
This is ridiculous. This is petty stuff. Let's not
it's
spend a lot of
town
time
asset
on
we're
it.
liquidating.
I
I
don't
don't
have
care
to.
what it is. You can't just give away things that belong to the town.
Put $1 on it and I'll pay the $1.
It's worth more than $1. All right, we don't have to belabor the point. Does anybody else have a comment? All those in favor of the motion on the table?
What was the motion?
To give the tire changer remover
Rim remover.
device to the town of Northfield
Aye.
No,
Aye.
no cost.
for no cost.
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Let the record show. No. All right, 3-2, the motion carries. Give away town property.
It goes to Northfield.
It's
What?
not-
It goes to Northfield
For no-
for no
Okay,
cost.
good. So 3-2.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want it back if they don't use it anymore?
No, they can give it to Franklin.
I'll go buy it from them for $50.
They turn it
All right.
on.
John, do you have anything for us tonight?
I've been ill for a while and I've been
Oh.
low, so
Okay. I have a number of items, but Pat, do you have anything for us
I have a
tonight?
number of items.
Go ahead.
The island this year is the 25th anniversary for the island concerts. I remember last year or the year before, we had a mishap with some roses that were planted. And remember that? And Highway went and took the roses out that they planted. They're putting in roses. Can we make sure that Highway knows that they're going to replace the roses so that the money, $100 to replace the roses, doesn't get thrown out to the highway garage
Is that
again?
at the island or at Salmon
The
Run?
island around the gazebo.
Oh, okay, because didn't they do the same on Salmon Run? Okay.
Yes.
Let no perennial go on.
Yes.
And along the wall.
Yeah, okay.
So,
The tiger lily is good.
Oh, you can't kill those.
also, this is in conjunction with the letter that we got for the bus transit, but I think it should be read out loud because the folks that listen to the Selectmen's meeting can know that the bus is going to be stopped so that they can let whomever that they need to know that uses the bus, let them know. It says, Dear Ms. Constantino, this letter is to follow up my conversation with you to discuss the future of Winnipesaukee Transit. This transportation route has been provided by Community Action, Belknap County, Merrimack County for the past 15 years and provides demand response services between Guilford, Laconia, Belmont, Tilton, and Franklin. Door-to-door services are provided on an advanced reservation basis along the fixed route corridor. Our Board of Directors has been discussing with the New Hampshire Department of Transportation the elimination of this route as of June 30th, 2017. The primary issues that we are confronting are low ridership. Presently, we are only serving 25 to 26 riders per day on this route. The overall cost of the system, this service is presently costing $36,000 over the budgeted amount for the past 2 years. The board feels that given the ridership levels, the money would be better spent on other projects serving a higher number of low-income families in the community. And they forgot to put in here, and I will, that they went from town to town, city or city, to ask for contributions, and the only two towns that have supported it over the years is Laconia and Tilton. And the most ridership came from Franklin, and they never contributed. Never contributed. For riders impacted by this decision, we have other transit programs that might be able to meet their needs. We offer the Rural Transit System. This program provides door-to-door demand response for seniors, including wheelchair lift-equipped vehicles. We also offer the Volunteer Driver Program, which provides access to basic and essential services for residents who are unable to obtain reliable transportation within the affected geographical area due to age or disability. We plan to have our mobility manager ride the system, explaining to riders how to access these services and which ones better meet their needs. I hope this letter has been able to answer your questions regarding our decision for the elimination of this service. And this is from Jim Sudak, the Transportation Director. So it's no longer as of June 30th. And this week along, there were 6 people that were waiting out there for the bus, and they had just missed the bus at various days and times. And I let them know that the bus isn't gonna come anymore, and they were not able to take advantage of the senior bus or the volunteer driver program. They were too young and too able to do that. So Tilton's really going to be impacted on this, and a lot of people don't realize how much, but it is going to be impacted.
A lot of the towns that haven't contributed are being impacted too. In Franklin, they've got to supply rides for their people.
Right, for nothing. But the bus went from Franklin all the way up to Guilford and then made the loop coming back. And just a lot of people took advantage of it. I mean, they say 25 to 36, but those 25 to 36 impacted all along the way on daily. You figure that out. Okay, the other thing, I think, Joyce, I think you pictures and a note for the senior center roof.
Yes, and Gail sent that to Brock.
Okay. There it is. There's some pieces hanging. I think it's insulation that comes from underneath the metal roof of the main building, which Forever Metal put in a few years ago, I think 2013.
Oh, so it was them, not Dan?
No, Dan did the
Shed.
the shed.
Oh, okay.
Dan did the shed. And it's on the side of Awakening Chiropractic, in probably the first 10 feet on that side, and it's just kind of hanging down. Now, I don't know if an animal or bird or something, just it might just be able to just be put back in. I have no idea. But
So do you want me to
Needs-
call? Just
well,
look
Brock
at
needs to look at it
Okay,
first.
okay.
If it's just as simple as just tucking it back underneath. Otherwise, I think it should still be under warranty for the roof from Forever Metal. I think that's Patrick or whatever his name was.
I can get his number.
So I think our is. I did have a conversation with the chief on the cleaning. Last week we talked about the cleaning bill for the.
Yes.
So that was kind of a mistake, a misunderstanding. However, 2 things are happening. Once it was kind of a misunderstanding because they brought it all at once and it was like $149 for that month. Not all his, but that. So then we also questioned whether the attorney prosecutor should be included in that, where the prosecutor was included in it before, but he was also an officer that
Part of the union.
One was part of the union, one is not.
Right. However, we do have the sergeant and the captain and the chief that often make stops, supervisory arrests and things like that. And the whole main purpose of having your uniforms or suits cleaned is that when you come in contact with others that you don't know what's on them, fentanyl, or if you pick up a drunk and they throw up on you, things like that, those are the things that you don't want to bring home to your family or be mixed in a laundry with your children's laundry. And that's kind of the point that has been made over the years with the contracted people. And he transports people back and forth to the prison, to the jail, I guess, Belknap County.
Our prosecutor?
A prosecutor does that. And he also goes out on a few stops. So I would go ahead. He does understand that we don't do it all at once because it's going to blow the budget right out of the whack, and that the chief did have a discussion with him on that because he didn't budget for that. So within reason, within average of everyone else, and that's what he budgeted for. I'm actually okay with that, so I just want your opinion on that. I have no problem. Given the explanation, I had no idea that he was transporting prisoners up in, or arrestees up to Belknap and back to the courts and
But why
stuff.
would our prosecutor be doing that? Because
Right.
he's not a police person.
They
Is
have
it?
to sometimes if there's not one available and there's no, if they're on a call or whatever, they have to because there's no one else available.
Okay,
With
but
no
he,
cage?
is he still a police officer?
Yes, he is.
Certified?
Yes,
Okay.
So what does he want done?
she says cleaning.
Our contract with him, and we have a separate contract with this employee, does not include this benefit.
Does he wear a uniform?
No,
No, he was a
suit.
He was a suit like the prosecutor did.
So can we put in an amendment?
Yes, that's my point. If we're going to allow this, should it not be an amendment to his contract?
It's fine.
Yeah, stipulate how much or.
I brought it up last week, not because it was in his contract, not his contract. I was really concerned with the budget, because if that was going to be a month thing, then it was going to blow the chief's budget out. But
How much is it going to cost?
So let's get a figure. Let's write an amendment to the contract so we have something specific to vote on. Then we can yay or nay it.
I know a lot of times a prosecutor will be called in, such as like a fatal car accident or something like that, to examine stuff like that, you know, the crime scene while it's still set
Oh.
up, and
Yeah.
so
the chief
There
he
could
had
be an
budgeted
occasion
an
where-
amount, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the amount that they budget. He budgeted like $30 or $40 per officer, and included the prosecutor at that time
Per month?
per month. Yes, their uniforms get cleaned per the
We got
contract.
a lot of months worth of cleaning.
They don't all do it every single month.
They wait and have a,
They wait, and some it's $10, some it's $20.
okay.
You know, it's not, if you look at it, the actual bill, they're really good about it. They don't go over it, terribly over it at all. They're very good about it.
So does that sound like a good plan going forward? We get an amendment to the contract to vote on with an amount in it?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Everybody?
Anything else?
No, we did the panhandling. I think that's about it.
Ashley, do you have anything for us?
No.
Peter?
Yes. Public Works Liaison. Can you check with Brock to see, are we going to have downtown striping done before Old Home Day Parade?
And
Huh?
can we make sure we don't hire it out
Well, that's why I said have it done. I mean, in-house.
in-house? Oh, I didn't hear the in-house, thank you.
Well, I didn't say in-house, but I meant having.
Thank you.
Don't we usually have that done by Memorial Day?
Yes.
Yes?
Well, you said Old Home Day, that's June.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
That's
Memorial
June.
Day. Yeah, Memorial is what I meant.
Okay.
Memorial Day.
For the parade. That was item one for him. What's his game plan for pothole repairs now that the asphalt plants are open? Are we gonna wait till the potholes go from small to humongous, breaking up before we patch, or what? Can we check on hours at the transfer station on Saturday? I've always seen 4 hours, and in this week's book, you'll see it's 5. 8:30 to 1:30. It's always 9 to 1.
I noticed when I was down there Tuesday, there's still a lot of material left over from the cleanup.
Yep.
So I thought maybe they were trying to get that cleaned up.
What, where are you talking at the garage? Are you talking the brushed leaf area? Where?
Oh, around the garage, there was a
Okay.
huge, and I said,
They have
what
a
do you
lot
do?
of mattresses,
Yeah, I
too.
said, what do you do with all that? There was like furniture and stuff. He said, oh, they take the backhoe and they bust it up. There's a boat there. Somebody dropped off
Yeah.
a boat.
Oh, you missed the year they put the
We
boat
take
in the
boats?
garbage truck.
When do we
They
take
fed it in.
boats?
It was,
They didn't
Saw
know.
that.
I've seen them feed it in the garbage
We
truck.
didn't
Just
know.
keep looping
Is it
the
a
thing
rope?
and drag it in.
Is it a rowboat?
No, it's
Nice
Powerboat.
speedboat.
We don't,
I
That's not on
know.
the list.
I know.
Are you telling me that they
Why
didn't
did we take
review the list?
No.
Oh, well, speaking of your list, I believe as you drive around the right of the Public Works
It's not
and look at the sign, is it still 2000, what was it, 2007 or
Yes.
2004?
We've been asking for years for them to
Okay.
fix that. I said take it down. If they can't fix
What are
it.
we gonna do with the boat? How are we gonna pay for that to get removed?
Do you
How?
take
Is it
the sawzall
fiberglass?
and
Yeah, you cut it
Cut
up.
it up. I've done it.
I've cut a boat up a couple of times now.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Take
Sawzall,
the metal
skill,
off.
sawzall or
Take
skill
it
saw.
to-
Can we ask our
Priscilla.
Public Works Director to read the Amnesty Week
No motor vehicles.
notices so that in
he-
October we're prepared?
He told me that the person told, double check with him, because again, this is like fourth hand, said that they had called the town, they'd called up here and it said, yes, they'd given permission.
Well,
If I went
course.
in there with an elephant and told them that story, would they take the elephant? I'm sorry, that doesn't make it for me. I'm
It
sorry.
would not take
That's
the Brooklyn
low.
Bridge though.
He needs to have a conversation with his employees.
This is something,
If it's not on the list,
we do not take it.
they don't take it.
There's something seriously wrong with that picture there.
Boy, have I got some stuff to bring down there.
So anyway,
Pick
just,
till Ashley about that one.
well, and the other thing, that when we took these pieces to, it was a little Boston whaler, it was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 13 feet, cut the thing up, got it all in one load, took it over to Casella, and they said, oh, you could have just brought it in and dumped it off whole.
You drive a tractor over it.
Yeah, they'd smash it with
You'd
their,
have a good time.
yeah.
Sure.
That's the only reason I know. But anyway, so what made me think of that was, maybe that's what they were doing, they were down there
Thank you.
getting stuff cleaned up and crushing
Well,
it
It's
up.
only one person this past Saturday.
Oh,
He
just one
needs,
person?
he
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
to review
There was only one person.
with his employees.
The last thing for Brock, last week he had mentioned he contacted Eversource on the 3 poles on
Right.
Old Route 3. Can we get an update just to see, are they moving, are they not? Because if they are moving, it may affect how we want to do our work.
Yeah.
Because we have one little pinch point that if we gain a couple feet, we may want to try to widen. So that was all I had for Brock. Then the Winnisquam Interact Club, which is the Rotary wannabes, it's the Rotary's high school, have a couple of the Interact students have approached me to see is there anything they might be able to volunteer to help out at the town. So if there's anything you can think of, shoot me an email and I can get it to the person overseeing Interact.
Somebody needs to pick up all the trash in the parking lot.
Yeah, the municipal parking lot is
Public
terrible.
Works hasn't been doing that.
Nope.
It really is awful, isn't it? What about the Conservation Commission at Salmon Run?
That was postponed last Saturday, 'cause
All right.
pretty heavy rain, so. And there has not been a date reset for that yet.
Is that something they would want to do? Is it community service?
It's commuter service types. It's like, Rotary's thing. So anything that
Is there a date that has to be done by?
they didn't give me any. So they just asked if there was anything. What I can do is I can go back and say it may be for this school. Between now and the end of June.
Yeah.
And if I get any feedback, I'll shoot an email to the board. And
What about doing some plantings there at the T-Hop?
well, you could either do that, or I've also the Ag Center's doing work also. So
Yeah.
one or the other could do that.
What about if we got permission from the sewer they maybe gave us the paint to paint their pump station?
If you want
That'd
to call
be
Franklin and
Winnipesaukee,
ask him, you
yeah.
can, because that's not our pump
That's the
station.
river basin.
Right. But do you think that's something,
I don't.
is there
see.
paint that can go on?
Yes,
You'd
you
have
can
to
buy paint
power
for
wash it.
concrete.
You can, but you'd have to power wash it first, right?
Yep, there's a process you'd want to go through to clean it off because the paint won't stick to dirt and grease and
Don't do it.
fungus and whatnot.
What
Don't
about,
do it.
what about cleaning our monuments?
John is all over
Yeah,
that.
And with-
I brought that
with
up.
the
There's a
cleaners and-
special procedure for
Especially
students
the lady
quantum.
out here.
Well,
John has that, that's a
She's
model
got 30
statute,
pits?
just like this one. We bought a project,
Yeah, so get that,
a project. We bought a product.
Yep, I've
John's
got
The
the
one.
only
special
one at the high school?
I've
Yes.
done that one.
Yeah.
I did that last year, and Mabel last year, the year before, see, they're pretty white. I'll get them again. I didn't get this one.
Yeah,
I'll get
the
a-
three of them, what is it, Asia, Europa,
In America.
and America. America's out here, right? And I think this is Europa, and I think that's Asia. Might be.
But the,
There was a fourth one.
the other thing was, quantum has to be done in a very special way, and Catherine found some of the stuff on it. It should be waxed every year.
Really?
Yes.
They want to wax a statue?
Now, what sort of wax are we talking?
Like, we've
Butcher's
got the whole
plain.
procedure
really?
and special soap that you use, and, you know, you don't
That
want
would
to
be
use
fun.
you don't want to use tap water because of the chlorine in it,
Distilled.
and,
How about
You know,
our
and
Civil
stuff.
War guy?
and then that's the next thing
That's
I
David Court. David Court's the one who.
got to find out
Him.
what was done with that, but everything I've seen on the metal statues, that there's special cleaner and those waxable and, or butcher's wax, gently brushed on and worked into the little cracks, and you can buff it lightly with this soft brush. You're welcome down, Joe, and
I'll come if you did, John, out there, buddy.
Yeah, look, and
Gently brush.
well, wax is,
Wax on?
Anything else, Peter?
no, I'll start at
That's
the
a
top,
good
you
list.
work way up from the bottom.
All right. And I believe Captain Martin was going to add to their policy for their stop-stick device, and we neglected to ask him. So could he be asked? Perhaps for next week or the week after? Well, I sent the selectmen 3 proposals, I think. An illegal dumping ordinance, changes to the housing ordinance, and hawkers and peddlers changes. We also we really need to get on the disorderly conduct ordinance. Does everybody have a copy of the disorderly conduct ordinance? Why don't we see if we can come to some sort of agreement on page 2 under D, the times.
Am I looking at the right one?
Yes, it's on page 2.
To D.
Okay,
Making loud unreasonable noises,
okay.
with the exception of snow blowers. I just love that one. When between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Monday through Saturday.
I think to begin with, we should add to exception of snow blowers in, also add in the words on other remedial emergency equipment. Or emergency.
What would that include?
Does it
Let's say
exclude
you have
that?
a pump, your basement's flooding out, or an electric generator, because the, you know, the power is out. Something of that type wording.
Ten PM seems late. Where did we get that?
Of making any noise outside,
Hmm.
Doesn't that seem late?
not in the summer.
When do fireworks start?
We need to add
Pretty
that.
shortly.
Snow blower and fireworks.
Should
No.
that be added?
Does that include the homemade cannons? Right, Joe?
Somebody's got a cannon in my neighborhood.
Something, yeah. It's
I think I know who it is.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Your side of the lake, or?
Down my house.
I mean, it's kind of like, there's you, there's me, and then there's the cannon.
It makes it,
Because one of the cannons left, the other one I haven't heard in a while. He used to do it after closing, which was great.
So is it
1:30 a.m.,
Pardon?
one boom,
I think
just
9
enough to wake
o'clock.
you
I
up.
don't want anybody calling me after 9. I don't want anybody making any noise after 9.
I'm content
That's how
with
I feel.
exactly the way it is right now. Nobody's complained about it to me.
Except we had a
we had a whole room full of
room full of people
But
here.
we're not, this ordinance
Wouldn't
doesn't
affect it.
Affect it
Well,
unless you put in a
it doesn't
decibel
to
level.
to a certain extent. If you look at Monday through Saturday, I mean, 6 a.m. is a little early on a Saturday, I think. I think most people have an expectation of Saturday. For some people it's a work day, for some people it's not, for some people it's I'm home.
Then you better fix 10 o'clock on Sunday.
Well,
Average to two.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Some of us have JOBs during the weekend.
8
We have
a.m.
to
on
do it
Saturday and Sunday.
So I'm thinking 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. But I'm thinking Saturday,
Is that
6 a.m.
Votes, Joe?
I think's a little early.
Votes?
8 a.m.
Yeah.
8 is reasonable.
I don't know. I get up at 4:30 every morning, so
I kind of
Whether
like
I wake up the
7.
rooster.
I like 7, but
7.
8. If we're compromised between Saturday and Sunday, have them both at 8.
Sunday's 10 a.m.
I know. So move Sunday up and Saturday down.
Oh, I'd leave Sunday at 10 a.m. I think that's family day. I think there should be one day.
so the person that works 6 days a week and Sundays is the only day to do it, now you hamper them.
I think you can wait to 10 a.m. to start up the old leaf blower, rotor tiller,
Lawnmower.
shooting things
I
that
get my
blow
lawn
up.
on at 9 o'clock, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it should be the same every day.
6
Well-
a.m.
No, 8.
Here's the thing about it. It also excludes the commercial trash haulers from emptying the dumpsters.
They don't do it on Saturday and Sunday either.
They do it on Saturday morning at
Yes,
Chili's.
they don't do it on Sunday though.
It's 6 a.m.
Did you hear
Well,
it?
that's not in the ordinance anyway, right?
Yes, that's covered by
It
ordinance.
is, and I think it is in here.
They can't do it before then.
Dumpsters, E. Between the hours of 10 p.m. and 10 a.m.
This is 10, mine says 10 and 6.
Oh, what did I
Yeah,
say?
yeah, 10 and 6 weekdays.
It is 10 and 6.
Saturday.
For dumpsters, it's any day.
Yeah, it doesn't limit the day. It's every day between 10 and 6. Monday through
For dumpsters.
E.
So does D mean that every powered saw, grinder, drill, lawnmower, garden tool, and similar device makes loud and unreasonable noises?
Used outdoors.
I understand, but still.
Making loud or unreasonable noises by operating any mechanically powered saw, grinder, lawnmower, or garden tool, or similar device used outdoors.
I would say if they're factory equipped with their muffler and all, it's not unreasonable. That's where you need a decibel level because you can then meter it and say, yes, definitely, otherwise it's subjective.
Power boats going across the lake.
I mentioned that to Joe.
I know, being in the lake, you can hear anything that anybody does.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
If
you
you
can
go
hear
to-
people talk across the lake.
Yeah.
If you go to G, it says nothing in this paragraph shall prohibit a peace officer from enforcing this ordinance for any noise that is unreasonable to a person of average sensibilities. Because when we created this, we did talk about how do you measure decibels. This all came about because the kids, remember back when they all of a sudden had to kill their eardrums with the boom boxes in the cars. I mean, most of them, their back seat was dedicated to giant speakers.
It still
That's
happens.
where this, how this
So
ordinance
there's
Yeah,
still
your
came.
chest would vibrate when they would drive by
Oh,
the
yeah.
town hall.
Yeah,
The windows on the Main Street buildings, you could hear them.
that's right.
Right.
So that's how this came about, but we didn't have anything to measure that sound, so.
Yes, you do. They've had audiometers for years.
We don't own one, so we didn't have one, so that's why they added this. So that a
Okay.
peace officer,
What's a person of average sensibilities?
that's for the peace officer to determine.
Subjective again.
That's right.
Why don't
So
we go
the
audiometer
time-
and then you can,
So for
you
right
can
now,
scientifically prove it.
since
get
we
the time
don't
down?
own
Yes,
one,
I don't see
let's
what's-
work on the times.
What's wrong with the times that you have?
Sunday is way too late.
I think Saturday at 6 a.m. is too early. We have 8 on the table. Did anybody say 7?
I'd prefer 7, but
I make a motion that we move the times between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Anybody want to second that? Discussion?
9 p.m. on Saturday, and it's later on the weekdays? Wow.
Still light out at 9.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They don't even start firing the
That-
fireworks until
So,
9.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, that eliminates fireworks
Yep.
That's my
Saturday.
point.
on
That
Saturday.
is exactly my
Do
point.
you have that much over your way? We've
Are
got
you
it all the
kidding
time
me?
at ours.
Yeah.
Well, it bounces off
Break
our
it
roof.
down into pieces. Just make it, for right now, just agree on Monday through Friday, 10 to 6.
10.
I'll amend my motion to 10 p.m.
6 a.m.
Which is the current.
That's the current. I'm not going to.
Right, Monday.
Just
Monday
just
through
Monday
Friday.
through,
Monday through
Starts
Friday.
at 10 a.m.
no,
No.
between 10 p.m. and 6
Between the
a.m.
hours
is
of
quiet.
10 p.m. at night and 6 a.m. in the morning.
I'll
You
agree
can't
to
make
that.
noise.
Yes.
I-
Well, we haven't got a motion.
I
We
amended
haven't- we
I
haven't-
made a motion to amend my motion to read 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Monday through Friday.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Aye.
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 All right, good.
Opposed? Okay,
All right,
passes.
good. Now talk about the
So
weekends.
please,
Talk about the weekends now.
All right, so Saturday,
make a motion that we do Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Second for the sake of discussion.
God,
discussion please.
almost had him.
Don't we want to do that backwards, though?
Well, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m.?
Yeah, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
quiet.
what you
We've seen
meant.
the quiet time.
Too
That's
late.
Saturday.
Yep. Aye.
Let the record show. Nay.
You're against that one? Why?
I'm against that. It's
Discussion
too
on that?
late.
It's for Saturday?
If you work 5 or 6 days a week,
Oh, I just heard her say
The
Saturday.
dew's not even off the grass at 8 a.m.
We are just talking about
That's
Saturday.
Saturday. You're
Doesn't
just
mean
talking
you can't
about
cut
I
wood.
understand. Currently, it's at 6 a.m. I'm happy with 7.
I don't think your goat gets up that early, does it?
Monday through Friday's off the table. We're talking about Saturday.
We know.
Between the hours of 10
10
p.m. and
and
8 a.m.
Yeah.
is what's on the table.
Yeah, and you don't agree with that?
No.
8 a.m. is
That's too late.
Yeah,
You want to cut it by 7 at the latest,
right.
is what I'm saying.
7 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm working 5 days a week,
10 p.m.
I may have limited
7.
time to do it.
10
Okay, 10
p.m.
p.m. to 7.
7
to 7.
a.m.
Well, we have a motion on the table. It's
We
10
have
p.m. to 8
a
a.m.
question from the audience.
Audience.
10 o'clock's awfully early for Saturday night. Now, the only reason I say that is that stuff doesn't get going in my neighborhood till 9:30. And at 10 o'clock, that means anybody can call, the police would be
Yep.
running for noise complaints.
Yeah, you're having a party, the
If it
music's a
takes
little
it-
loud,
If you
so.
take it literal, And 10 p.m. is not very late on a Saturday. I'm just throwing
In the
that
summer,
out.
it gets late at 9:30.
Yeah. It's like go to bed, but it's still light out.
John, you had something you wanted to say?
You know, I could move it up an hour and a half, 2 hours on Saturday if it was matched Sunday. And that's because I'm looking at the total hours that I have to do things over the only 2 days I get off.
So what are you suggesting?
So I would say whatever we have for Saturday, if we move it up to have it on Sunday for the start time. So if we start at 7 on Saturday, we start at 7 on Sunday. We start 8 on Saturday, start 8 on Sunday, and I think they should be grouped. So like that.
And what do you think of the evening time?
Well, 11's great on Saturday, but definitely 10 Sunday, have people in bed. Or not
Anybody
in
else?
bed, but being quiet so other people can get up at 4:30.
I could go with 11 on Saturday, I have no problem with that. But not during the week, and I hope July 4th is during the week.
It is,
Oh, they'll
it's on
find, they
Tuesday.
make up on the weekend,
I lost-
both weekends around it.
It's on
Track of
Tuesday.
what motions we're on. So are there
Right
any
now,
minutes?
what's on the table is 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. That's what's on the table. It has not been
For
amended.
Saturday.
For Saturday.
That's for Saturday. We haven't touched Sunday, so please let's not bring Sunday into Saturday.
Okay, so
All right, any more discussion of the motion on the table, which is 10 p.m. on Saturday to 8 a.m.?
Can I make a motion to amend that
Just shoot, well, either that.
and
We're just
change it to
voted down.
11?
I just voted
Well, we
down.
might be able to
Voted down.
solve it real quick.
I am. All right, we're ready for a vote?
Yep.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
yeah, it's so much easier to keep track of that way.
Okay, so 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Saturday is
So I
on the
make a
table.
motion that we
To-
change the hours from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. on Saturdays. I'm sorry, 7 a.m. Did we say?
7, I'd like 7.
I like 7.
10 to 7, Pat? Or are you gonna extend Friday nights?
Saturday.
I thought you said 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
So you're going this is for Sunday?
This is
Saturday.
Saturday.
Well, if you're saying, so 10 p.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday.
No, she said 11 p.m.
11 on Friday night.
Okay.
No, we already did Friday.
Not
Yes.
at night.
This
Oh,
is
this is
between
for the
the hours of
Saturday.
11 p.m.
It's the Saturday quiet
and
time.
7 a.m.
The Saturday morning quiet time.
Yeah,
So that would be 7 a.m. Sunday
Well-
morning.
No.
No?
Saturday night.
Saturday morning.
Saturday night at 11 o'clock, you best better have quiet.
Especially
Until-
Period.
Until 7 in the morning.
Till 7 a.m. Sunday morning.
Sunday.
I'm not talking about that, we're talking Saturday. We're talking Saturday AM, right?
Oh my god, you guys, I can't.
Well, you're
Okay.
combining 2 days,
Here is
Pat.
Saturday morning. I just got
I'm
up.
just saying what her motion was.
I
That's
know.
all.
Well, we're trying to clarify it. I get up at
Pat, can you clarify your motion?
Yes, I will clarify my motion. The motion is on Saturday, 7 a.m. Saturday morning,
you can start making noise.
you can start making noise, and at 11 p.m. it is all quiet on Saturday evening. Period.
Thank you. That's very clear.
I like it.
Okay. Any more discussion of that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so
Ah,
that's
opposed.
That hurt.
So that's noise.
All right, this no Sunday. We're moving along.
Make a motion that we, oh, wait a minute, this is Sunday.
Do 8 to 9.
Yes, like it.
8 in the morning
Mm.
until 9 p.m.
Why 9? Because now you've got 3
Because you
different...
gotta go to work.
You gotta go to
Because you
work
have a
Monday
day-
through Friday, and you can go till 10 at night. So
I
why
think-
don't you say 10 for 6 days and 11 for 1 instead of having 3 different cut times?
I think that Sunday is a day that people should be able to sleep in. If I lived with a neighbor I would want one day that I know that I could sleep in the morning if I wanted to without being woken up by a lawnmower, chainsaw, rototiller,
Me too.
or people
Make it Monday.
Oh, and if I
blowing up
work,
things in their backyard.
so if I work the midnight to 8 shift, can I get a quiet time for me too? Because I work a different shift?
Your
No,
plugs.
sucks to be you.
Oh, I see. It's just for you.
Take it as your advisement.
Very good. All right.
You
So
chose
Sunday,
the
I
show.
make a motion that we, let's see, we can go eeny meeny, but make a motion that we can start our noise at 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday.
Second? I'll second it. It's out there for discussion. Please. Anybody?
It's too late. Start.
I'd like to make a motion to amend that to 8 a.m.
Yes.
You want people to be able to make noise at 8 a.m. on Sunday?
What matter what day it is? It's a day that most people have off. They have 2 days off, Saturday and Sunday. The rest of the time they spend working. They need to do things around their house. 8 a.m. is pretty early. I mean, pretty late to be getting up, working around. You don't have anybody living near you either.
Nope, I don't. And I like it that way. Anybody? Comments?
All right, I just can't see going earlier than that, really.
Earlier than the 8.
I can do earlier than 9. I can't
Already
on a
churches.
Sunday.
You need to cook some supper for your family.
The
Ashley,
churches
comments?
get to ring their
I
bells
think
early.
8 is fine. I'm fine with 8.
Peter?
I think you know my opinion.
7 a.m.?
5 a.m.
8 to 10? Is that
Live
where
free
we're
or
at?
die.
Right now, where you can get
Yeah,
up on
right.
Sunday morning and at 9 a.m. you can start making noise, but by 10 p.m. you better not be making noise.
I think that's reasonable. Sunday morning, people,
We had it 10, right?
Yes.
Yes.
so.
10 a.m. You had to wait until 10 a.m. to make noise.
So now you wait till you
So we've
can
just-
start at 9.
We've just given them a little earlier time to make noise.
I'll have to get an electric chainsaw so I can run it off a portable generator to get by it, I guess, huh?
It still
You got
makes too
electric
much
chainsaw?
noise.
Situation, I gotta cut it.
At some point, I'm gonna need a recap, and when you give me the recap, I want it either to all be in quiet time or all to be in noise time.
Okay, so
Only over at Noise Road.
does everybody have,
There was no second on John's, right?
There was a second on my amendment to be 8 to 10?
no,
No.
I thought there was, didn't I?
No,
I thought Ashley did. I'll
Yeah.
second it if you don't wanna
Wait a
take
minute.
Ashley's
You
second.
can't
can
have
take
two
mine.
motions on the table at the same
You
time.
can't, Robert's rule said you can amend a motion up to 2 times.
Okay,
Yeah, but-
so now we're gonna vote on,
If
I
the
feel like
chairman
Turtle
allows
Mitchell.
it.
Yeah, where's my rules? All right,
You
so
can
right
only-
now, we're voting on the amendment to the motion. God,
which
check.
is
8 a.m. noise starting time. And is it still 10 p.m.?
8 to 10.
8 to 10. This is the amendments. Everybody understand we're voting on the amendment?
way too much.
Okay.
I understand.
Any more discussion?
Aye.
All those in favor of 8 a.m. noise starting time, 10 p.m. shut down on Sunday?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Nay.
Nay. All right. So, the new motion on the table is...
All right, so now we're doing this all is when you can make noise, because I think we got a little gap here
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes.
This is the noisy time.
So
This is noisy time. Is the motion on the table is between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. All right. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Let the record show.
All right, so for noise time, this is what I have that you did. Monday through Friday, you can make noise from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yes.
That's right.
On Saturday, you gotta wait an hour, but you get to go
Get
make
the extra
noise till
on the
11.
back end.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So you have 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. to make noise.
That's right.
Now Sunday, because some people may have like a hangover or something from Saturday.
I wasn't going to say that, but thank you.
See, all the more reason, 'cause
Give
they
them-
probably kept me up the night before.
So then you let them get a little extra hour,
Oh, no, they
No.
punished me, I get
you know,
it.
at 8 o'clock.
Oh,
So far, you've got 6, 7, and 8.
I was gonna say, the old ordinance
8
was-
o'clock, you can have to wait till 8 to make noise, but you better be in bed and quiet at 10.
all right.
Got it.
Here we go.
All right, so if you could make those changes, then maybe we can sign that next week.
It's only taken a year and a half.
Yep.
Hey, that's pretty
Oh,
quick.
God.
I don't want to open up a can of worms because it's 8 o'clock, but why is it that the other noise problem this doesn't address? Because it's equipment.
It should address under
It should
G.
address it.
Under G?
Under G.
Under G.
It
okay.
should address it. I do know that I spoke specifically to the owner of that business, that there was an employee that was abusing this ordinance. And at that time, I was there because I brought him down a copy of the ordinance and said, you need to make certain that you're within this. And he got back to me later and said that he did have an employee that was, 5 o'clock in the morning and until dark.
Okay.
So, and the chief has talked to him, so we'll see where that goes, but
And they're still going routinely?
he's still going.
I've never heard anything over on my side.
Yeah, he's trying to have less impact on the residents, so he's trying to be, I don't know, more considerate, but it is his business, it is his livelihood, so I think it's best to let the police handle it. So,
I have a question on your dumping ordinance when you're going.
yes, go ahead.
So why can't we just use the littering statutes? Because isn't dumping littering?
Similar. So littering is typically considered, and toss a bag out the window or whatever. Dumping is usually a considerable amount of tires. It's a little bit different. The littering ordinance only addresses public property. This dumping ordinance addresses the issue of private property. If I'm a private property owner, should I be allowed to accumulate a pile of garbage? And should I allow friends and neighbors to bring their stuff, discarded refrigerators and air conditioners and whatnot, and put that on my property as well?
Alice's Restaurant.
I don't mind if it's combined, but the specific things that are addressed in here, and I completely admit to plagiarizing, as most municipalities do, so I can't take credit for a lot of this. But we could include it in there. We could
Well, I was
make,
just thinking, because we already have a littering ordinance.
yes, we could certainly create another section that is the dumping ordinance.
It was just a thought.
No, it's fine. It would be nice to have it all in one.
Well, because a lot of your definitions are other than illegal dumping.
Yeah, those came mostly from DES. I have had
Because you have a good littering ordinance.
at least 3 in the past few weeks of illegal dumping. One of them was just absolutely incredible. But the property owner is I was very surprised at how quickly they reacted and how well they're working to get it cleaned up.
And is this a good violation? This is a violation, the penalty?
The penalty is
The violation.
what's typical of the language the police have given me.
Okay.
And I think it's the exact same language in the littering. what this addresses is.
And this would also allow you to go on a private road, street, alley, parking lot,
Well,
wetland.
147 already allows me to do that, to investigate public nuisances. I cannot go into a structure without permission, though. So on the back page, illegal dumping prohibited really addresses for any person to place, deposit, or dump, or cause to be placed upon any public or private highway, street, alley, parking lot, road, wetland, pond, blah, 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 or any lot or parcel of land, whether private or public, other than in a New Hampshire DES approved disposal site, or in a trash receptacle, blah, blah, blah. You guys can read. But that's the section that isn't covered anywhere else. Department of Environmental Services, even in their administrative rules for, does not have any language that lets them regulate dumping on private property unless somebody is actively acting like a transfer station or there's wetlands involved.
What's the difference between littering and dumping? If I go and,
It's typically the quantity.
but how would this explain? So if I went and threw a McDonald's bag out the window, big one, with some trash in it, in my neighbor's yard or something, or if I threw 10 of those out, when would it become dumping and when is it littering? How can you?
Well, illegal dumping, the definition says, and this isn't my definition, means depositing solid or liquid waste at a location other than a New Hampshire DES approved location. So if I'm littering, I'm going along like in a car and I'm tossing something out the window. I'm not day after day taking my trash or garbage, my solid waste, and putting it in one location on a piece of property.
Similar to Wolf Road, that's dumping.
But
Well,
Even if
that's
it's
one
not-
incident, but I have one, for example, where
And Malt Dry was dumping.
over the year, that's dumping.
Yeah.
That's dumping. This one piece of property is being used as a transfer station, and it's not a licensed transfer
if you
station.
do it just once and you throw out in the back of my backseat of my car, I get a bunch of McDonald's bags and I pull over and throw all those out and it's a pile this big. Is that dumping or littering? I'm trying to
It could
how-
be-
Sick, that food will kill you,
It
John.
can be either. You can
It's
label
it's
it,
a godsend.
you can label it whatever you want.
Yeah.
The most important thing is what I just read you about
I'll
it
make
being
sure it's good.
illegal
Yeah.
to do it on private land or public land.
I've read this many times over, and the only question I have is the penalty. It's really not it's not clear when you say, or refusal after notice has been received and shall be subject to a fine of up to per day, $1,000 per day, but not less than $300 per day for each offense. It's sort of like out there. Is it going to be
No, so
$300?
the minimum they can be fined is $300. The maximum they can be fined is $100. So it's, $1,000. It's not up to, it wouldn't be up to me to decide, it would be up to a judge.
Where did this come to?
This language I got from Chris Paquette years ago.
Okay.
But it's, like I said, we can make this part of the littering ordinance.
No, I say we should do it just by itself.
Okay.
Yeah, I just was
But
curious why.
I would take the penalty language, I just didn't have it in front of me. The penalty language in the littering ordinance and make it exactly what it is here. I think it should all be the
It
same.
doesn't matter, actually. I guess it doesn't matter whether I litter or dump, it's the same fine.
It's
Is it the same thing?
it's
That's what
really
she wants to do.
well, yeah, it's really yeah.
I think it's important to keep them in the same range so that you can,
Well, except
So-
for
so nobody
if
can-
dumping is a larger quantity, it should have a higher fine.
well,
But
you have
again,
a range.
that's why it is. There's a range.
You know,
So
Like
let's
a
And then
let's
that way
take
somebody can't say I actually littered and not dumped and argue that point.
So
If
let's
the range is
say-
in there, they can't argue it.
The cases I'm dealing with now, I have one on Wolf Road, but that's public, it's a pickup truck load. I have another one I'm dealing with that is, well, it would probably take at least 6 rack bodies to get rid of it. It's huge. It's been going on for years. It is, and it's a lot of stuff. It's furniture, it's paint cans, it's a ton of stuff. It's huge. So for me, if I was a judge, the fine for this huge one, especially with the paint cans, for me would be more than, well, you know.
Why are your paint cans? Most of them now are latex, which is not hazardous.
These aren't.
Okay.
I would go ahead.
It's old.
I would go ahead with this. I would actually vote this in.
This needs to have
And
a
then-
public hearing.
And then go and change the litter ordinance separately. Don't combine them.
So you would like to see it?
I'd like to see this go. I'd like to see this have a public hearing. I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and do that.
Didn't you say that you were going to change this to the littering penalty?
No,
Other
change.
way around? This will be
Right, other way around.
Other way around, okay.
Yeah, I think the penalties should be the same.
Yeah, so nobody can try and
But we need
flip-flop
to,
the
we need to
definition.
address that at a different time other than that same time.
Now, there is also language I haven't put in here that I believe is in the littering ordinance, and it is directly from New Hampshire RSA 147, which is the nuisance law, and it is the language that has to do with if the property owner does not clean it up. There's a process that the health officer must go through, and it has to do with notification, and then the town can go forward and clean it up and charge the property owner, and then if the property owner refuses to pay, it can be collected as taxes.
Yeah.
But the language would add 2 pages to this, so
Well, we're not going to actually vote on this. We're gonna have a public hearing, so I
right,
suggest next week, bring that
Yes.
language.
yeah.
Because that is
Yeah.
important,
Oh,
because
yeah,
if
no.
they do fail to comply to pay for it, we've had that done. Wasn't that once or twice that we paid
Yep.
for sewer and we couldn't, and,
No, I did it as per
right,
147, and we collected it in that way.
yeah,
The town paid for it, and then they,
right. And
Pay
then if
for it
they
back,
refuse,
so-
then we need
all
that.
right, so
fall
I
back
will
on.
add that language. I will write the penalty as per the littering ordinance at 147 collection.
Did you want Jesse to look at this too?
Well,
Or
let me
has he
write,
looked at it?
let me finish, no, I wasn't
Better
gonna,
make the changes.
I wasn't gonna bother him until I
Get pretty
had,
close.
knew what the board wanted to do,
Well,
and penalty. Well, I'm just grateful that this property owner is so willing to go forward and clean it up, because I would have had I think we would have ended up in court. I'm not gonna deal with the housing ordinance tonight. I would like to deal with it next week. We're getting closer to, we wanna start, June 7th is the date we've thrown out there to start our first inspection. I say they, Tim Jubert and I. I talked to Dari today. We're trying to work out who's going to schedule, who's going to send out notices. Dari said that, especially where he has his new assistant, he'd be more than willing to send out the notices to landlords that, you know, we're going to come out and inspect. Because he also sends out the notices for, required by the state of New Hampshire and our housing ordinance for the designated respondent. So using that list, and it's interesting, we talked a little bit about, you know, because our ordinance is more inclusive than the state's, we are missing apartments, and sure enough, I found one today on a property. I didn't know it was there, neither did he, and it doesn't show the tax card. There's an apartment on a property on West Main Street.
There's a couple of things that I want to say on the housing ordinance. that, number one, the committee thought long and hard about fees and fines and so on. If you want this to get up off the ground on June 7th, it's a must that we have to have a public hearing. So we only have a couple of weeks now to have a public hearing if you're going to go out there and inspect before June 7th.
Well, I don't need
Part-
these changes to go out and inspect by June 7th.
Right. You don't. That's kind of what my point was.
Yeah. But I would just like to get moving on it. I think it's unfair for landlords for them not to be more warned than we're warning them.
Well, one of the issues on the Housing Ordinance Committee was that they purposely left out the fees and particularly for the first year, so that you could get the main purpose of the housing ordinance, to my satisfaction, was so that we could lessen the amount of uninhabited or substandard conditions out there and give you a little bit more teeth to get out there and do what you need to do. So their thought process, if I'm not saying this right, they'll come after me anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Or it's disjointed.
It's what you say on the TV. The purpose behind not doing a fine or a fee for inspection was that if they're listed and you go out and you do your routine inspection, if there was, most often your landlords are reasonable and you say, hey Pat, you know what, this window is such and such, or this needs a screen, or this needs this, and then you give them 60 or 90 days, or however long you give them, and you go back and say, yep, it's done, no problem. Then you don't have an issue. But they really didn't feel that a $40 fee should apply to how many units you have in the house. So if there's a 4-unit house, 4 units in one house, you know, that's $160 for you to come out and tell me what you feel is inappropriate or not in code or less than substandard conditions. And the intent of the housing ordinance, I think it defeats the intent.
I don't. I disagree.
And where they just approved it at town meeting and had 2 public hearings for this, I would really appreciate giving the townspeople more time and doing the public hearing.
How many
Not before
landlords
it's
were on
June
that
7th.
committee?
2.
No. 4.
What do you mean 4?
There were 4 landlords on that committee.
Who were the 4 landlords?
I'd have to get the list from Dari, but there were 4 landlords on that committee because I had long conversations with Chuck Mitchell.
There were 2 landlords on the committee. There were 2 alternates.
No, there were 4 landlords on that committee.
I don't know the alternates.
I was an alternate.
They work with her.
Yeah.
But the fees isn't the important part. That, I mean, I'm not going to earn any fees. That's for the town of Tilton. But there isn't a community in the state of New Hampshire that has a housing ordinance that doesn't have a fee attached to it. I'm more concerned about the other suggestions that I made that specifically let a landlord know. He doesn't have to go through the, I think there's, 7 different books, thousands of pages of code to figure out that for proper ventilation in a bathroom, he needs to have, 3 square feet of pane or mechanical ventilation or a combination thereof. That's to prevent mold. That's to have proper ventilation. Right now, I have apartments that have bathrooms inside, no windows, no ventilation.
Every landlord should not be penalized because you have some that are substandard. That's what the housing ordinance is supposed to.
I'm talking about existing code. Why wouldn't we spell it out? Why wouldn't we want to spell it out? So a landlord could go to this and right away say, ooh.
If it's existing code, why are we putting it in an ordinance?
So, well, we put existing codes all through this. Right up here, we listed it. but I'm just saying it should be specific. Landlords should be able to grab this and know right away specifically. I mean, actually, this isn't any different than what the attorney suggested that we pass. The difference is the other one spelled it out. It was all there. With
The one that everybody got up in arms about.
That's right. It was all spelled out. That's why they got up in arms about it. It was all there.
So
It's all here in this, because if I go to, I believe it's the building code, it's on my computer, I'm going to walk into an apartment building, and if that ceiling is 6'5", I'm going to say this needs to be at least 7 foot. But I'm not going to, I don't do that because is it reasonable for me to go into an old building where every single ceiling in there is a little bit lower, a little bit standard, and say, you have to raise the ceiling? Is that really going to change the quality of life of the people that live in there? But it is code.
Older buildings have taller ceilings, look.
I said at least 7 feet.
Can I say something?
Yes.
When we had a lot of those things in a housing ordinance and it was brought up, it was mayhem. People didn't want it. I went to the public hearings, I sat down with them, I discussed it, and the committees were adamant that they want to keep it simple, keep it concise, very clear, do that. In there, it refers to the building code. If you are just a landlord and you look through that, it seems like that's the only things that you need to abide by, because those are the things that are listed. If you don't put everything and you just put some things and you think those are the only things that could be enforced, just put everything has to meet the building codes, correct? And we reference the building code, so why do we have to pick this one and that one and that one to add to it? Either we put them all in there and give them a copy of the building code, or we just say, look at the book, you got to conform to that.
So,
Keep it simple.
okay. Applicable building health, life safety codes. All right. The building codes are at least 7 different volumes. All right. I'm just saying, I don't think landlords should be surprised. It makes my life easier when they're not, when I go into a building. I mean, I have all the authority already in 147 to go in there and tell somebody that the ventilation in this room is not adequate in this bathroom. But is it fair to have a landlord look at this and say, okay, what have I got, what standards do I have to meet? And they go in here and we have some very specific things written in here, which is 48A, which is, that's the bare minimum. And you have, some other things, space and security. The rental unit shall afford the occupants adequate space and security. That's very extremely subjective. I'm just saying it's more fair to a landlord for him to open this document up and say, oh, all right, I've got to have proper ventilation in the bathroom. I've got to put in a mechanical ventilation because my windows are so small. Okay, or I don't have any windows, but I can put in mechanical ventilation. I can do that. And I don't have to be fined or penalized or have a chance, but it's there. It's a simple thing. Because these are the basic things. And I went by when I go through a new building.
There's no rodent screen in there?
Hmm?
There's no rodent screen added on? That you want to add a rodent screen onto the basement windows?
No. Those are things that I look
Anybody
for.
in this room have a rodent screen on their windows?
You have the right.
Stuff. I think it's creepy.
I have the authority right now without this document to go into a building, and I have one. I have to check it periodically. I was even amazed. There's more rodents, mice and rats living in this duplex than I have in my chicken coop.
But if you have the authority without that document, then why do we need to make changes to the document so
Okay.
you can go in and do that?
I'm going to say this one more time. It's not for me to go in and do that. It's so a landlord can pick this up and not be blindsided. Actually, it is for me, so I don't have to stand there and have an argument with a landlord. It's in here. It warns them. They know they have to have these things. So instead of me going there, citing them with violations, arguing with them, going back, and they finally get fined, they can look at this and say, okay, I got to do this.
Right, but like John said, you're already referencing, you're doing things by reference.
Does my plumbing need to be vented to the roof for my toilet and my sinks?
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't say that in there, and I know, I've seen a lot of people that don't have that. I bought a house. that
I'm
had that.
fine.
But-
I'm
And the
fine.
building
I
inspectors
just
look
don't
at
like blindsiding people.
Well, no,
It happens
right,
all
but
the
they
time.
know you
Every
give them-
time I go out, they get blindsided, and I feel bad.
You
I
give-
don't have to feel bad, but I do.
Right.
But I'm good to go. If you guys think we're gonna go with this, I'm fine. But we're gonna be blindsiding landlords, and I'm gonna tell you what, I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, but you just tell them where they get that information.
Oh, when I give them a violation, I write the RSA they're violating. It's
But
right there.
They could look at that form and say, well, I got the rodent screens, I've got, the proper ventilation, I got all that. And then you go out there and you could see something drastic, like you flush the toilet and it sucks all the stuff out because you don't have a vent in the roof. And say,
Well, that's-
what do you mean? I went through this list on here, it didn't say anything about that. Well, you have the
It's fine.
same,
It's fine.
that's just,
You don't understand, but that's fine. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, you were referencing building codes, so does that mean every time the code changes, every landlord now has to update every change into the building, even though they've done no modification?
No. Depends on how it changes. If it affects the health and safety, then yes, they'd have to make the change. But like I said, the building code requires ceiling heights. It requires a lot of things that I'm not gonna go make somebody, and I'm pointing over here because we have two big old buildings that are full of apartments. I really can't go in there, and I don't think it would hold up, and I don't think it's reasonable for me to say, you have to raise all the ceilings in this building because they don't meet code. That isn't going to improve the health or safety of any of the tenants. They're not going to gain from it. There's no benefit to them, unless the ceiling is 5 feet off the floor. But I'd like to think they wouldn't have had an occupancy permit. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for a health officer, it ain't going to improve the quality of life for a tenant.
Right.
Now, if I walk into a apartment and all the bedrooms are in interior rooms, there's no ventilation, there's no windows, I'm going to say, these can't be bedrooms. And Tim Joubert is going to go in there and say, these can't be bedrooms.
here's one of the things that we do, like with the Conservation Commission, when people come in, for site plans or, and comments on it, we have a checklist. We say, these are some of the things that we're going to be looking for and do that. So they enlist maybe not just those
I have a
things,
checklist.
but have those that the landlords can get and say,
I have
on
two.
top of RSA this and in the building codes, these are just some other obscure ones that we're going to be looking for. So before you even call me in here, take a look at this.
Tell me, what is the difference between me sending them out my checklist, which isn't included in this, and adding it to this document, which is readily available on the website?
Because that needs a public hearing, and it also is an ordinance, and those other things change where that doesn't.
Well, this changes. It refers to life safety codes, health, and building codes, which change.
Yes, but you don't have to change that document. Every
I'm
time there's
going to say it again.
difference in it.
I'm repeating myself, but I think this is almost entrapment. But it's okay.
Yeah, but we had 2 public hearings,
That nobody attended.
I did. I was down there with somebody else.
and we
there.
had meetings open to the public,
That nobody attended.
nor did the selectmen either to have input. So there was plenty of opportunity for input prior to the town meeting.
What does that
Our
have to do
taxpayers
with
came,
this?
they read the ordinances, because 2 years ago, it was mayhem. We almost got our heads chopped off.
But it's the same document.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because you
The other document was 32
That's my
pages long.
point. It's all hidden now. It's all hidden. It's all hidden. But again, it's okay. We don't have to belabor it. It's getting late. Let's move
Well,
on.
I see your point, how you don't want landlords to be blindsided.
I don't.
But I think them each getting a copy of that and a letter saying we're coming out now and doing inspections, I mean, that's giving them a heads up. And they
That
wanna
we're coming
know-
to do inspections.
And they want to know, well, what do we have to comply with?
So you have to remember, I've been in most of these buildings, so I know what I'm going to find, because I've already found it. It's already been there, I've already tried.
And worse.
I shared with you the legal issue I had, and that's still there. That's still, I kind of let it go and said, okay, we'll go with this and we'll see what happens. It's still there. Because they don't believe, even though I've sent them copies of housing codes and this, that, and the other thing, they don't believe they have to, wait, you read the attorney's letter. So, but like I said, I'm good. I don't care.
Protect people from
I
themselves
just
sometimes.
don't, I feel really bad when a landlord feels that they've been duped. And I think that this document does. For me, it's the exact same authority as the previous one. It is exactly the same. It just doesn't spell it out. It's not transparent. And I'm all for transparency. That's why we have a 5 or 6 page budget, because I felt we should go from a 1 page to being transparent. I'm a transparent person. But I'm okay.
Why didn't you bring that up at town meeting? And make the changes?
Because when I was at town meeting, I really wasn't. I just wasn't physically, mentally. I would have done things a little differently.
Well, why don't we just give this one, you're not going to do them all at once now. You have a plan, you're going to start and do so many? I mean, how many are
We're
there?
starting right off. Every Wednesday, we're going to be out there and we're going to do what we can do.
But they know that you're coming,
They're not going to know we're coming until we send them a notice.
okay?
How much time are you going to give the landlord a notice that you're going
I
there?
believe it requires 2 weeks.
So the first one is really just these are what you should have.
I'm going to give them notice of violation. I'm going to give them a set time to get them done.
Right, and that's what the
And-
ordinance says, is to give them a notice of violation. Okay, well, then we mean business.
Yeah. And we're going to have lots of legal action, but that's okay. I'm good. Like I said, I'm good.
But I thought we had this vetted by the attorney.
No, I'm saying it's going to be challenged over and over and over and over and over again. But that's okay. I'm good. I don't need those changes to do what I need to do.
Some of what's being asked for is different from what you would have in your own home. So the expectation of being a landlord or a tenant, the expectation is on a different level than being a homeowner. You could go in the homeowner and the violation is not going to be
And that's,
a
you know,
violation, but because
ex-
it's a tenant, it's a different violation.
that's exactly how landlords think. That is exactly how landlords think.
I'm not a landlord, so
I'm, yes, you
But-
are.
But
No.
before someone,
You don't have a tenant? That's a landlord.
legally I'm not a landlord.
That's a landlord.
yeah, but she legally is not.
Yeah, I'm not a landlord.
She's a tenant.
I don't. It's not in my name.
Oh. I forgot that, sorry. But,
Well, keep us informed.
I try to keep the.
Yes, I'm committed to this. I'm very committed to this. I just don't
But
want
it,
the timing of the additions to
Somebody,
it.
especially the property management company, they, realtors, they should know all of these things already.
They don't.
I think they do, and they just.
No, they don't. I
I
have
think-
2 I deal with that don't, and I have one
So are we
that
gonna-
probably should, but
Are we
let's
going to
move
put it
on.
out for a public hearing to see what the public's got to say?
Well, let's move on. The board isn't going to support it, so I'm not going to throw it out there for a public hearing when
I
the
don't
board
really
doesn't
think
even
it's up to the
support
board
it.
to support one way or another. I think it's,
Who comes to our public hearings? Who came to the public hearings for the,
oh, a lot of people came to the public hearing on the housing ordinance, when we had a 32-page housing thing. If you tell people you're making some changes to the housing ordinance, I got a feeling we'll have some people here.
no, let's just move on. Like I said, it's not that important to me. I'm
Four horses.
not a
dead.
landlord.
Gonna keep kicking it.
Yeah, let's just move on.
I want
Hawkers
to go
and,
home.
yeah, hawkers and peddlers, can we look at that next week and be ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready on that.
Are you ready to do it now, Joe?
I have a question. Seems like hawkers and peddlers is only good for what, 90 days? It has to be redone.
Good for a year.
It's good for a year?
Right now, don't we pay $50 for a year?
Yep,
Hmm.
season, yeah.
Oh, no.
Did you ever get the right copy you were
I
looking
think
for?
there was a time frame.
I had it in my computer. I forgot that I wrote the original.
Okay, because we have a lot of copies. This thing has been amended a number of times.
Yeah, I forgot that I,
It was like $25 a month, and then we like,
$50 for this, for the
Every
year.
year.
$25 per month or $50 for the year.
Every year we amend this.
usually that's not a problem, but I can think of one.
I agree with Catherine, I think it has to be changed.
Oh, trouble is, I don't remember what I wanted to change it to.
Oh, you got the news.
Let's see.
I think I got it.
We still have two non-publics.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna suggest we do it next week.
Okay, we can do that.
Want to do it next week?
Yeah,
Yep.
so everybody be ready to do it next week.
Let the record show we were ready.
You know, I had one, I don't know what I don't know what I did with it. I had it.
Send to Joyce. I believe my suggestion is to go back to what we were before, which is $50 for the first month. And this is $25 for each additional month. That was the original, but we can talk about it. Send to Joyce.
I think each additional month you should be ratcheting up, because they're turning basically a seasonal into something, and they're not really paying much in taxes or
I
anything.
agree with you, but this was, I just wanted to start with the original one and then
Yeah.
have that conversation. Okay.
Yep. I agree with you too, Peter.
There is just, you know, I know it's late, but there's one quick thing that I should let the selectmen know about.
We still got a non-public.
I know, but the park commissioners, some bills came in, and, crap, why am I not having my staff? For the park commissioners, and, oh, here it is. So what we had some plumbing issues this spring. And the bills are coming in for them. It's not completed, but the park commissioners felt that because the Public Works is directly responsible for draining and turning on the waterworks, and this damage was caused by freezing, because it wasn't properly drained, that those monies should come out of the Public Works account. I talked to Tim about tracking. So if somebody came into town hall and said, how much does it cost us to maintain Riverfront Park? We really wouldn't be able to tell them right now, because we don't track the hours that Public Works is in the park. We don't track the cost of materials that isn't there. He is able to set up a system in his computer where that could be tracked. So we would actually know what the cost of maintenance of Riverfront Park is. So I just wanted to make sure that was all right with the selectmen if Tim did that. Okay?
Yeah, but is there a question on who pays what? Or did you already square that away?
No, that isn't. So the problem is we have a new director, and he wasn't aware of what Public Works is supposed to be maintaining. He didn't budget for it. I've talked to him a little bit about it and said, look, why don't we, sometime towards the end of summer, before budgeting, we'll get together and maybe with Tim, and we'll sit down and figure that out. What are you going to budget for? What are we going to budget for? And I mean, for me, it's all the selectmen's budget. So the only reason to separate it
I'm
and
not
do
aware
that
of what they're supposed to be
well,
maintaining.
is, like I said, is for us to track the cost. We should know what it costs to maintain Riverfront Park as selectmen. But the public, if they come in, we should be able to answer that question. So he can track that with a system, regardless of what budget, what section of the selectmen's budget it's coming out of. But I wanted you to be aware of this one issue, because that's how the commissioners felt, since it was negligent on Public Works' part.
How do we know it was negligent on it? I mean, I don't get that.
Didn't that freeze up about 5-6 years ago once too?
Not that I'm aware of.
Froze up once before. And
We have
What was
freeze
this
ups.
shed?
We have freeze ups at 132. We had some freeze
did
ups
that
there.
one freeze up years
I
ago? I
don't.
don't know.
We've never had a freeze up at.
No, we had a heater burn up.
We had a heater burn out. We had a computer burn out.
And the computer did with it because it was toasted.
So to answer Pat's question, this is a bill from the plumber that went in and did the repairs. Service called the Tilton Recreation Building for complaint of water leak in the wall. Remove and dispose of split copper fittings. Provide and install new copper fittings and pipe to repair broken water lines. Provide and install one new service stop that was damaged in freeze up. Service call for leaking flush meter. Found that part had frozen and split. I don't know if he says it one more time or not, but yeah. So we had it froze. The lines were not properly drained. I don't know what took place before, because as I said, it was always, Public Works has always drained it and turned it on.
I think now, you can shoot me, I don't care, and it's late, and you can do whatever you want to do. I think, my personal opinion is that we should take over take back the autonomy of the Parks Commission and do the work, put it in the budget, and do all of the work necessary so that we have more controllability over what we have and what we don't have and what we have to do in budget and all of that. And then we have, as a Board of Selectmen, I mean, the same thing. If the parks need something, they come to us, and it's... I think you folks would be better off to do that than try to figure out where we're going and who's going to do what. If something like this happens again, where one doesn't know the other one should be doing it.
Well, quite frankly...
And then it costs us money.
Quite frankly, the repair of that infrastructure has always been Public Works, so it should have been in their budget. I'm just telling you that this year, because
But we've never budgeted.
they've never done the work.
Joyce has been doing the Public Works budget now.
The work was never done.
What work are we talking about? That list that Dennis Allen gave was not a list for the Public Works to do. That was a list of what it takes to do every single thing in the park. Yes, it was.
No.
You could get Dennis Allen right in here.
Then he'd be lying.
And
Because I
I
was
sat
sitting
at
there
that meeting
making a
and
list
other
with
people-
him.
I sat at the meeting and he said, I'll make you that list. I'll make you a list what it takes to do the park. And I'll make you that list to show you that I don't have enough manpower to do it. And you have to take care of your own
Well,
stuff.
and I remember him giving the Parks Commission a bid or a dollar amount on what it was going to cost to do all these things.
It really doesn't matter. It's history. And I agree
See,
with John
holding them responsible.
to a point where I agree with on the list. I've seen that list. But the fact of the matter is you want the highway department to be more active in the parks and do a lot more to save the town some money. Let's just do it. But I'm not going to do it without having the autonomy of taking that autonomy away, and then you go ahead out and well, I'm going to subcontract this out, but I'm not going to subcontract this out. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
What are you
Let's
talking
just do
about?
all or nothing. The Parks Commission. Let's just take it over. Let's highway just take. Let's the selectmen just take over.
Does the Board of
Boom.
Selectmen really want to do all the work the park commissioners do? Because you're going to be sitting here a lot later than 9 o'clock
just
at night.
maintenance, just maintenance.
I'm saying.
No, she's saying she wants to take the autonomy away from the park
I'm
commissioners.
saying on the maintenance and care of the
Maintenance
town.
is fine. There's no problem there.
I don't think it is.
I think this
I
is a
just
huge
told
problem.
you that we have a new director And he's willing to sit down and work it all out.
Right, and he is, but he doesn't have any people right now.
That's right.
And he's got highway work.
And we're
That's
paying because
right.
we don't have enough people, and
you're,
pipes get frozen, and now we're paying for plumbers.
well, and that's because we had a new director, and he's got a plan in place, and it's fine. I'm not sure why
And then
you're
you're saying we
excited
had a
about-
director that didn't do it to begin with.
We did.
I'm so confused now.
We did. We
Dennis
did.
Dennis's guys did used to blow out the pipes there. They'd open up the toilets and they'd close up the toilets, since I've been here.
I know
But
I-
right now you have a
And
public
what's the
works
Now
director.
now there's a hot water heater that's leaking.
Now you have a public works director
Now he's
that's more
responsible
than
for the hot
willing.
water heater?
No, he's not responsible for the hot water heater. Of course
Oh,
he's
this-
not. This
The
is
hot
not.
water heater
Probably it's
is
age.
nothing to do with the freezer.
Right.
That is
It's
not the
old, right?
responsibility.
Well,
Yeah,
when
the
park
bottom
runs
rusted
on, so
out.
it's-
Yeah,
it's
That
the-
has nothing to do with this.
Okay, but who's responsible
10,
for
15
getting it
years?
replaced?
It's coming out of the selectmen's budget. But the park commissioners will take care of that.
No, but I mean, who's
So it's going to come out of our budget, but you're going to take care of picking who.
You gave that
who-
authority to.
That's exactly the issue I'm trying to tell you.
I'm
Give
not
us
sh-
back that.
Why?
Take back that authority
Do you-
so we can pick who's going to replace the water heater.
Jesus, we can't even get the plumbing fixed here.
Well, that's my fault. That's not nothing to do with public works.
Well, this isn't Public Works' fault. There's no fault here, except, I mean, it's clear. They didn't properly drain the system. That's an issue. That's a problem. That's going to be solved. You know, don't shoot me because I'm bringing you information and
Nobody's
letting you
shooting
know.
you.
Well, now you
It
want
just
to...
makes more sense for
It
us to
makes
do
no
that.
sense.
It does make a lot more
What
sense.
time
To do the
do we
maintenance
have?
and everything else on the parks and keeping and taking the autonomy away, you do, and that gives you folks more time to spend on the
Programming.
the programming of it. That's wonderful.
Yeah. No, it isn't. Let's move on.
Is that what you want?
I wanted to provide
To do the
you with some
maintenance?
FYI. That's what I wanted to do.
Well, it still hasn't decided
It's
who's
quarter
paying.
of nine.
No, no,
Let's
we just
go
need
into
to put money in the
non-public.
budget. We
It's
just
getting
need,
out early, it runs the latest meetings.
Jesus.
no, we need to put money in his budget, because I'm worried
It's gonna
about
be
his
long to get out early.
overtime,
Huh?
his salt, his sand, he's
We'll get out
made
at 8
equipment
o'clock,
purchases.
I get it. I don't see where we can take it out of Public Works. He's already over
It's
budgeted
coming
and
out
full
of the
it.
selectmen's budget. It doesn't matter if it's Public Works or Parks or Conservation. It's all one budget. If this line is overdrawn, we're going to move money out of whatever. If there's leftover money in Parks, that's going to go over there.
Isn't there a budgeting rule on overexpending your budget by a certain amount?
It's a bottom line budget. Only the chief of police is held by
By that
his
bottom line?
specific
Only
budget.
the chief, the public works, and
So, you know, I was trying to give you an FYI and keep you up to date on what's going on and things that were a little hinky, and shoot me for doing it.
So,
Let's go into a non-public.
All that juice.
that's why I keep going there.
so how do we do that? Motion to go into non-public for personnel, and there was one other.
Who's the
Legal.
Settlement.
Joyce had something.
Settlement.
Second.
So,
What's the percentage?
We'll find out.
We're going to find
You gotta
out.
turn the camera off first. Yes.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 First of all,
It's exciting.
Saturday morning getting up, we have to go open up the house in Maine.
We're on. Do we need to seal the minutes of the first part of the non-public? Motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as it pertained to personnel permanently and as it pertains to settlement or legal until the matter is resolved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Motion to adjourn? Come on, Ashley.
How
Second.
about the minutes of the, do we have to seal the second part of the non-public?
You should just get when it's settled.
When it's resolved.
Aye.
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 Brenda?